Hey guys, Mutant XP back on the mic. Welcome to another episode of the Mutant XPerience podcast, the only podcast currently devoted to covering the American Third Strike scene. So I hope everyone is doing well under these extenuating and difficult circumstances. I hope everyone is safe, and I hope everyone's loved ones are safe. And so tonight, I am very excited to welcome my special guest, one of the voices of American Third Strike, veteran Third Strike player, Alex Main, and also cosplayer, and among other things, we have Duralath on the show tonight. Hello, Duralath.
Oh, what's going on? How you doing, Mutant?
So, what's going on, man? So, first and foremost, I just want to extend my best wishes to you, and I hope you and your family and your friends are safe. From what I understand, from your social media, you are, I guess, considered somewhat of an essential worker, I guess.
Yeah, that is correct. I am a contractor. I
Mm-hmm.
work at a major hospital. I will not divulge which one.
Mm-hmm.
You know which one it is because I mentioned it to you. But work in IT and making sure the doctors are getting the correct medical equipment. We've been imaging computers for the past couple of weeks, and the doctors are coming in now to pick them up. Some of them uh, getting all the equipment, and it's been rough, but I have firm faith that we are fighting the good fight. And like I definitely agree with you. Shout outs, my family is safe. My roommates and my girl and I, we all live together. Uh, we are practicing our social distancing, but of course we do live in close quarters, so we are definitely adhering to that. But above all, we're doing our part, and we're hoping that everybody does their part too.
Yes, stay home. Play Third Strike.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Seriously. So, we're gonna have a lot more of that to come in the episode. But yeah, like I said, I hope you stay safe, considering that you continue to go out there. And so we need to make sure that we see more of that Alex.
Oh
All right.
God, dude, I'm gonna be honest. Nobody needs to see my Alex. My Alex is terrible now. God.
One of the things, like, it's I don't know what it is like about like your matches, Duralath, but like you always seem to try to like take the hardest route to win a match. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay,
and,
okay, okay.
and then
That's
and then and then like and then like it like requires you to come to make this like ridiculous comeback. And then you look even more godlike. Is that like your thing? Is that like actually a
no,
gimmick? Is that what you're trying to
no.
do? You just
I,
Are you the
I, I,
guy
I
that just like jogs the first few laps and then just like turns on the afterburners at the end?
like. Okay, like I'm gonna be very honest. Like, I don't consider myself a very like super strong player, obviously, but like the whole like things just happen. Like the way I've played, it's literally just it's a lot of scramble. Like,
Mhm.
and it's bad because obviously I get caught in a lot of bad situations where I get controlled, and you know the one thing I've learned is that sometimes you just have to play clutch, and you're gonna have to look for a knockout punch one way or another. But one thing is that no matter what, like chips are down. Like, I'm not gonna quit until I see the KO on the screen and I've won or I lost. So
Mhm.
like at any point, like it doesn't matter whether it's 99 seconds or point 0.1. I always treat the match as winnable until I know it's not. So
Well, we're gonna talk a lot more of your mindset as an Alex main. But like I said, one of the things that makes your Alex so special in my mind, from the footage that I've seen, is that you have this ability to sort of build on momentum. You get that one opening, and then you build it to something bigger and bigger, and you end up winning a round that you probably should have lost.
okay, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've stolen so many rounds from like in matches where I know I should have lost, but it's just you got to trust. Like a lot of it's just trusting in myself to to say, okay, like I said, you're not dead yet, and cite Rocky Balboa as one of my greatest influences. Is
Uh-huh.
that like, you're not down. You're not done until you're done. Like I don't stay down. Like you gotta put me away. Like I'm gonna keep coming at you. Like I'm like there are things that people don't realize. Like I'm not afraid of going up against the best in the world because I've gone up against the best in the world. And now that I know that, it's like, okay, you play the game, enjoy it, and sometimes cool shit happens. Revel in it, and if you can make something out of it, fuck yeah, man. It doesn't go your way, it doesn't go your way. You move on.
And Alex, the character, is perfectly built for that mentality.
Yeah, with Alex, because like I went with Alex just because he hits hard, and there's a whole backstory on why I picked Alex. It's really ridiculous. I'll go to it later, but I tend to I actually don't like grapplers that much because I find their lack of mobility really frustrating. But with Alex as a mobile like hybrid grappler, it just seemed to make sense because I could streamline what I was doing. It's like like the whole mentality of fear the person who masters one kick 1,000 times and practices that. And like Alex has so many like really bad options, but I got creative with how I could implement every option. And to be very honest, my gameplay is very rudimentary, but it's just about like what is the opponent giving me and how are they defending and what can I do to try and make them lose their balance so that I can create another opening. And that's what it is. And it helps that Alex hits like a fucking Mack truck. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's where like
And he could
scramble
take
comes.
damage
Yeah,
like a mofo too.
exactly. And so could Rocky Balboa. It was like world's hardest chin can dish out a punch. It made perfect sense to me.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely get more into the Alex lore and the Alex tech. But again, for those of you who are just joining us, welcome to another episode of the Mutant XPerience podcast, episode 38, with my special guest, SoCal Alex veteran Duralath. And so, Duralath, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into the FGC and video games in general, man?
Okay, well, I've been playing Street Fighter ever since I was a kid. I mean, we didn't have a console growing up at home, but my cousins did, and they always had the latest edition of Street Fighter. So obviously, like Sega Genesis had Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition on it. When they had their Super Nintendo, they had I think it was like Turbo was on there at some point, but I always wanted to play because I loved Street Fighter. I thought it was like that's so cool, like shooting fireballs and doing hurricane kicks. That's really cool to me. And it was always this thing of my cousins were the ones to beat because like obviously winner stayed, loser rotates out. So I always like and I would always lose because could never play the game, so I could never get better. And I always loved playing it. So as the games as the years progress, we got older. Obviously, like the alphas came out, and Capcom versus SNK 2 came out, and that was the one where we really got into it because by that time, I was able to afford a PS2 and got a copy of that, and I was actually really heavily into CVS2 at the time, and I was playing this jank ass team like K Groove Rock Kensagot, which kind of made sense for the way I played, which is just stay off of me. I'm going to bully you with like heavies, whatever. But I wasn't any good at it. But I still couldn't beat my cousin. So, like, yeah, I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I'm looking for anything, like any edge. And I was like, found the internet and I found like GameFAQs.com of all places. Like, you remember GameFAQs.com, now owned by like GameSpot, hashtag not a sponsor. But like, I was like, okay, what are these like? What are the cool combos I can do? Like, what can I do? What can I learn? And believe it or not, like this is around the time like Third Strike came out, and like I actually hated Third Strike when I first got a glimpse of it. It was like at an arcade called Electric Avenue in like 2002, 2003, and I was actually an initial D competitive player. Like you remember the initial D arcade game like way back when?
Yeah, so just to back up a little bit, so Duralath, for those of you who don't know, grew up or you were born and raised SoCal?
Yeah,
Uh,
I've never lived anywhere else
yeah,
than
wow.
SoCal. So
Wow, wow,
yeah,
wow. Awesome. Yeah.
purebred. Yeah.
Okay.
And
And
so back then I was actually competing in Initial D
uh-huh.
because that was like the huge thing. Like you had the machines. This is like the version 2, version 3 days. And I see everybody hovering around this showcase cabinet. And it turns out it's Third Strike. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, that's really weird. Like, where's Sagat? because obviously I was like really a fan of Sagat, and it's like in CVS2, both Rock and Sagat have like the best standing roundhouses for anti-air, so I didn't have to like worry about really trying to uppercut people. And I was like, I don't got like Sagat there. Like, I'd rather play CVS2. I don't want to play Third Strike. That's fine. But then like more and more people started like flocking to it, and I was like, all right, maybe I'll give this a try. And it was cheaper to play Third Strike than Initial D, because like Initial D cost like 50 cents 2 tokens, whereas Third Strike was only costing 1. I was like, well, what's all this hubbub? Like, what's this game? And like, so I touched it, and I was like, I do not have a fucking clue what I'm doing in this game right now. Like, I'm trying to play this like at CVS2, like I'm using a Kuma Roundhouse, like throwing a red fireball on their wake up. I had no clue what parry was or how to throw even, because
So you never played Second Impact or New
no,
Gen?
I mean, like I touched it once when I was in like 5th grade,
Uh-huh.
when we went to like a laser tag arena, but I didn't think anything of it. Like Dudley and Ryu and Alex were like they looked familiar, but I was like, it didn't dawn on me, and like I didn't really get into it. So at the time, like I was like, yeah, this game sucks. Like I don't have like the tools I want, right? And then of course the Daigo parry happens, like Evo moment 37, and the viral video goes out, and I'm
So
like,
living in SoCal, were you
yeah,
there?
yeah. No, I was
Like,
not there. I was actually
okay.
not a full part of the FGC at
Mhm.
that point, but I was still like watching from afar. Like the viral video came out, and obviously Daigo's video, and I was like, that looks so like I want to do that. Like I'm pretty sure I can do that. Like every other overeager fighting game player was like, oh, I want to do the Daigo parry because that was like the sickest shit in the world. So obviously, go to the arcade. I'm not playing Initial D. I'm playing Third Strike. But I didn't pick Ken because I was like, oh, everybody's picking Ken. I was like an Akuma main, and then I was like, oh, everyone's like, oh, Chun Li's really strong. You just need like back fear. So I was like, oh, well, I'm not winning, so maybe I should just play Chun. So try to win, right? And that didn't work because everybody like knew I had no clue what I was doing. But I was like, I want to keep playing because okay, I understand like why is this so cool? Like one, I'm feeling all the hype of everybody playing, and all that like feeling came back. Like I want to play more Street Fighter now. So fast forward, and I cycled through mains from Akuma actually to Chun to like Dudley, because I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to play Dudley because like he's got cool juggles, like he was doing really cool damage. And it was only when I saw the first FFA Rambat video, which I think is not actually a Rambat, it was a 2v2 video. They released, and I like, don't correct me if I'm wrong. It was the first video that they released after going to Japan, and it was a video of Pyro Lee and Shay Deeney versus 5-star and Vic Vance, and it was obscenely fun. Like I was like, this is high level play. But then they released the commentary vid with Rockefeller and 5-star that happened for that same tournament, and it was like ridiculous. I was like, wow, I kind of want to be there, watch it while they play. Like that would be awesome to have them commentate on my play and just like how funny it was. Because Rockefeller, we all like shout out to Rockefeller, like dude has like moved past the FGC and he's like living his life somewhere. But he was a funny dude, and him and 5-star had like the grandest time commentating, and that's actually what led me to play Alex because of Ty Mitchell Rennick, because he had the best showing in that video, the
Shout
commentary
outs
video.
to Ty.
Yes, Ty Mitchell Rennick, the guy that inspired me to play. This actually answered your question about what got me to play Alex. I was
Writing, by
watching.
the way, was also on the Mutant Experience podcast. You can check out
Yes,
all my past episodes, youtube.com/Mutant Experience.
nice. Um, Rennick was playing the strong color Alex, was the America Alex, right? And um, what happened was Ty's playing against he was playing against Rob Greco, and then he's playing it. No, he's like I was like either Rob Greco or something like that. I don't know. But Ty gets up and he lands power bomb, and you hear 5-star yell, "Oh, Batista bomb!" And like Rocco was like, like he doesn't know what it is, but like obviously 5-star like name. He's like he's a wrestler, right? And I was like a huge wrestling fan. I was like, dude, I have to play Alex now because I can Batista bomb people. And that's actually what got me to start playing Alex, was that moment. I was like, I'm sold. Like I have to play this. So I never gave up Alex after that. That was like 2004, 2005. I was in college, and I was like, I'm gonna learn this character because I want to be able to like bomb people. I want to power bomb people. And obviously, at my college, they had a stand-up arcade machine. Moore Park College, of all the places, like janky ass Moore Park College with a small little cabinet that had two players on it. Nothing ever worked on that cabinet, but sometimes you get players like Eric X Chin, Matt X Chin, the Chin Dynasty brothers would show up there,
Shout outs to the Chin brothers.
right? And also top player Arliath would show up randomly there from time to time because he was splitting time between there and like CISA, like Cal State University Northridge. So there were still some players that were playing there, and actually that's where I met some of the guys like Farai from who now resides in Tokyo and is playing over there. Actually, that's the first time I met him back when he had like long hair, and we all knew him as Jesus John because he looked like Jesus. I'm not gonna lie,
Mm-hmm.
but there we had a core group of players that played there, and it was pretty scrubby at times. I'm not gonna lie because we didn't know what we were doing, but we genuinely enjoyed the game. But there were times where I was actually skipping college to go play Third Strike because aside from Moore Park College, there was an arcade there down the street called Interface, which was like the sister to the mecca of
Mm-hmm.
Family Fun Arcade.
Mm-hmm.
And I would actually cut class to go to Interface because some of my friends would be playing there, and uh, I started like diving more and more into like okay how to play like there's the whole tournament scene. Worked up the courage to work my first tournament in at the end of 2005. I think that video is actually on YouTube still. Uh, went 1 and 2 I think, and I was like I'm addicted. Like this is the game I want to play. Like I gave up on Initial D after that. I gave up on every other competitive thing. I was like dude this is like so much fun. Like this is the game. Like I like this game a lot, and it helped that there was a home port, the anniversary collection on like PS2 that came out with those really like those terrible arcade sticks that like the marshmallow buttons that were too high and the bat top which was too big. But that was what everyone had if you didn't have the Tekken 5 stick or you didn't have like a wrap that you got from Japan that you somehow imported because you were that good. But I was like, I want to be on that level. Like I want to make an FFA ranking battle video at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while, but 2007 ish, I finally made it. So made that goal, but that was just the beginning. I was like, I'm gonna keep competing because this game keeps me grounded and it's just fun and it's beautiful and I've never looked back ever since. Like even with SF4 and SF5, I just keep coming back to Third Strike because it's just more fun. Like I think like Justin Wong a while back, in a similar sense, like when Marvel 3 and like Infinite came out and all the other like and like SF4 came out like '09, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm getting tired of playing this game, but I kind of want to go back to Marvel 2. And I was like, I feel the same way. Like I like SF4 I was like, okay, I'm kind of done playing it. I'd rather go back to like a more fun, a more polished game that, I greatly enjoy. And I guess that's kind of like that's the semi-short version of what got me started.
So, talk about some of the players like when you were coming up. Some of the players like either that sort of helped you sort of understand the game and get better. Like especially like those first couple years. Who were some of the players that sort of kind of helped you along the way, whether it was through like direct advice or just beating your ass, like it was back in the day.
Oh geez, it was a lot of ass whoopings, like all over the place. Like actually, the first like I guess top player that I ever talked to was Gutex, Ryan Gutierrez. This is back when he had long hair, and uh, I remember it was at Interface, that end of the year tournament, and I walked up because I had seen Gutex in one of the videos, and I was new at the time. This is before I started going by Duralath in tournaments. I went by Rockman, which I didn't realize somebody else had that name already, but I was like, whatever, I don't care. Um, Talked to Ryan. He gave me a couple tips about like how to be, just play your game, have fun, or just have a good time. You're here, you already paid, so might as well make the most of it. So it was him, and then Tom Shin, Arliath, who was my first match in that first tournament, and he bodied me with a buki, and it was a massacre. I was like, I've never played against this character. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I've only played against like every Ken, Scrubby Chun, Scrubby Dudley, and Scrubby Hugh. Like I've never seen a real Ibuki player. I got juggled like back and forth all over the screen. I'm like, fuck, what do I do? So I was always like asking him on like SRK afterwards, like, hey, like how do you do this? How do you do this? So I guess I was kind of like his fanboy at the time. Really weird for me to finally admit that, but he would joke around about that with me now. Um, he also used to work for FFA and Interface, and there was one night where we were playing an Interface, and he grabs a bunch of fucking tokens, just like handfuls. Because he worked there, it was fine. And he's like, "Hey, Duralath, let's play." And we actually went like 30, 40, 50 matches. Alex Makoto, his Hugo versus my really shitty Urian at the time, and I lost like 98% of those matches, but the few that I was winning, he was pointing things out, and it was just like that first time where I actually got to sit and play a top player and have my shit got pushed in, but it was also like he dissected what I was doing. Like he knew I favored player 2 side and trying to corner you there, but if I cornered you on player 1 side, I was like statistically weaker. So like he really helped me out on that end. Other players that really helped me out, like Pyro Lee, even first time I played at FFA and I played him, I took a round off of him, like surprised him, and then he steamrolled me the second and third rounds. But he was really nice afterwards. He came up, introduced myself, and I was like, "Hey, like, how do you do these things? Like, what are you doing? Like, how do you approach this way?" And he was actually really nice about like helping me out with advice. And to this day, I really looked up to all those guys. Like, hey, like, you guys were the first ones to really you know, sit like give me a kind word and tell me about like, hey, like you can do this or don't do that. And every now and then I try to get closer to the big boy cab at FFA where all the top players play, but I kind of always played on the scrubby cabs because dude, I was nowhere near that level yet. But other fun players like the Chin Dynasty, they were fun to play against too. Like Eric Chin, I swear to God, he beat me in every goddamn tournament I ever played him. Like somehow I always ran into him and he always eliminated me. It was at some point we both ended up in losers. I'd fight my way in there, and the next thing I know, I'm fighting Eric Chin, and I'm fighting an ultra technical Yun, and he'd get the win. And I was like, "Fuck, man, really, really like."
Was he your Shang Tsung dude? Yeah, that's
He
another
really
question, man. Like, who is
was.
your Shang Tsung? I should start asking players this. Like, who
Yeah,
is your Shang Tsung? Like, it doesn't matter like who the player is, where the player is from,
like
how you perceive their skill level to be. It's like there's that player where it's
uh,
like you will never
it
beat that player. You are
it
destined
was
to lose to that player.
it really was Eric Chin. I
Is Eric
swear to God,
Chin?
like every time, like in those early years, we were all playing 3S. Like Sun Route Cup, I ended up having to play. I had to play Eric Chin. Like every fucking FFA Rambat, I ended up playing Eric Chin, and he would either knock me to losers or put me or eliminate me altogether. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing wrong against you, dude? Like Jesus Christ, I can't beat your Yun.
Well,
And
what
I
were
was like,
you doing wrong? Like, what was it that was like, giving you such a hard time?
I was letting him like I should have realized that he's always gonna look to get into Gage, which is
Mm.
fine. So like in the Alex Yun matchup, I think you always have to acquiesce, like unless you get the steamroll going early, Yun's always gonna get Gage. And so Mr. Bean, who's I haven't seen him in a while
Yeah,
actually.
shout outs, Mr. Bean.
Yeah, Mr. Bean always reminded me that, even though you're gonna fight, you're gonna eventually come up against an agent. So you have to concede that it's really those hits, those stray hits that give Yun meter that maybe you shouldn't be getting tagged with him. But I was getting tagged by a lot of crazy stuff, and as a result, he was getting more agents than he should have if I had guarded a little better, if I had developed better defense. So I was really leaving myself open up because I was like mashing throw on wake up or trying to option select high end wake up. And he'd just be getting good reads on me because I was predictable. Like my defense was bad, and he could really take advantage of that because he had Yun, and obviously Yun, Ganage, and Alex is a big target. The juggles were different, but he was still getting massive amounts of damage on me. Like I couldn't random him out, and at that time I was kind of having to rely on that, and it really forced me to rethink. Like, well, you can't just. I think like the analogy is like you're a pool player, and you can't just accept that you're shooting the pool ball and accepting garbage. Like whatever happens, happens. Like you gotta come in with a plan. But like clearly Eric had a plan. I didn't. So, it took me years to, shake that off. And, Eric and I are still like good friends. Like every now and then if I ever travel back home and, he's in that area, so I know he's been working. I'm not sure if he, still lived out there, but, when I would roll through, I'd see him at the place where he worked. And, it was always very friendly between the two of us. Like, I think he saw me as an annoyance first, but then finally, like, I kind of earned my respect. Like, hey, you still play, you're a strong player. And, you know, like when I evolved, like the friendship evolved out there. And it was just really good times. Like, so it was really Eric Chin for those early years who just like the demon. Like I could not get over that goddamn wall.
So, not to change the subject, but when I think about sort of your timeline and how you got into Third Strike, you sort of, you know, you sort of started getting into Third Strike really at a time sort of when all the arcades were really closing down in Southern California. And
Oh
so, can you talk a
yeah.
little bit about just like being in that particular, being in, you know, being, a Street Fighter player? Because, at that point, which was like right, like the late 2000s, right, early 2010s. Like, I had already moved. In other countless podcasts, everyone knows, I'm from SoCal. Moved to the East Coast. But you know, it seems like when you started coming up in the scene, that was kind of when all the arcades started closing down. And so, like, how was that like? How was that
I,
like?
I mean, it was rough. Like late 2000s, early 2010s. The advent of SF4 and everybody kind of gravitating towards home play, the decline of having to pay to play and not really experiencing that anymore. Um, we did what we could. Like I mentioned, like I didn't get an SF4. Obviously, I stayed with 3S, but partly because I didn't have a next gen. I didn't have a PS3 or a 360 at the time because like I was like fresh out of acting school, like like pennies to my name, and uh, I was trying to focus on the things that made me happiest, which were Third Strike. Like my pastime was 3S, and whenever we could go to Arcade Infinity, we made it a mission to like play for as long as we could on as little money as we could, and that's like how I trained. And the good thing about the SF4 scene and that whole era was, you really started to like connect to more people because everybody was getting back into like everybody was getting back into the scene. Like names we hadn't seen in a while were, coming out of the woodwork. Like, you got guys like Combo Fiend that came back and Valle came back. Uh, and it was still rough though because we were still like the bastard stepchildren of the fighting game scene because 3S was the old. I don't want us to play it anymore. Right? We all want to play SF4 and everything. So we did what we could, and we formed a small community around everybody who still wanted to play 3S. Uh, but then, of course, obviously as the arcades were declining and there were just like less places to play, it was kind of disheartening, and you kind of had to accept the fact that unfortunately these places were not going to last much longer. So you had to find more creative ways of playing. Like obviously, online edition came out for the PS3 and 360, and kept up with it that way, even though like it was not arcade perfect, and it was still something. It was still a tool, but you know. It was really important to keep everybody as connected as possible. It didn't matter if it was 3S or any other game. The whole thing was it was like like home was being taken away from us. So no matter what, we had to keep connections somehow. And the good thing was people they had access to candy cabs, like they had bought some. So the home game really started flourishing. Like and you like it turns into guys like Don, who runs Don's Arcade, and you kind of get that sense of that old feeling of, wow, like I really miss putting a quarter in, even though Don's is a cover charge. You still get that feel. I mean, there's almost nothing like it, to be perfectly honest, because that's what I feel is missing from the current FGC. It's like it's too easy to hit rematch. Like you play a casual and then okay, like 2 out of 3, all right, whatever's okay. Well, I lost. I'll get him back next time. But they don't have that feel of like, all right, I got $5 to my name. I got
Sense of
$5,
urgency, right?
right? Like that feeling of I need to protect my money because like I budgeted $5 for this, and I got it to last as long as I can. But like, I've got like money I was gonna keep for food, but like if I could play a little longer, like maybe I could just I'll just grab like a side or something. I'll just get French fries, whatever. And like the ways that you just wanted to play, it was gone. It sucked. But what mattered most was there were people that were still willing to keep in touch, like beyond that. And then when we found other ways to play, we were still able to play, even though it wasn't the same. But we still had a sense of community, and I think that was the most important thing was making sure that we still stayed in touch. Like there's still guys that I haven't seen from the fighting game scene in a long time, and every now and then they pop up on my feeds. And there's some of the guys that move on to other avenues. Like they get into they just get into the other stuff. But it was we all had that unity at one point, and thankfully it's not going away, and that will never go away. So, but I will say it was pretty rough when they had to close FFA and Arcade Infinity.
Were you there on the last nights of all those
Oh,
arcades?
oh yeah. So,
So what was the first one to close? Family, right? No, no, no. Or was it Arcade Infinity?
I think it was AI because AI closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, AI closed in
So
like
tell me a little bit about what you remember from that last night of AI.
Oh, I remember like I remember we went there. It was like 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. Uh, I never remember seeing the place that packed. Other than like the heyday of SF4, where they were holding all the tournaments there, and of course you had all the Bamani games, all the other games that everybody was playing, but everybody had to get their last piece of AI, and then, you got that feeling of, man, it feels like the OG arcade in there, especially with how many bodies were there and how fucking hot it was in there because you couldn't breathe because so many bodies in there. But it was good to like get some final games in, but obviously it was very painful when they finally closed the doors. Like we said our final goodbyes, and it reminded me of the days where even though it was like 2-3 in the morning, Ken, who owned Arcade Infinity, would still let us play there until like 2-3 in the morning, even though he was beat tired because he'd been running the arcade all day and he wanted to go eat somewhere because he had a long day, but we just couldn't stop. And it was like those we got one last chance to do that because that seemed to be like the tradition was playing until like 3, 4, 5 in the morning at Arcade Infinity until Ken was like, guys, last game, I'm tired, I want to go home. And
what was the name of that restaurant that
oh
was at in the same plaza?
oh my god,
Chinese,
oh
you know what I'm talking about, right? The Chinese
yeah
restaurant that's attached to the supermarket.
yeah
Right?
yeah
It's like a supermarket, and then when you walk in, it just turns into a restaurant.
oh god, yeah. Dude,
So
oh my god.
so I don't I don't know if this is a story that I would be proud of, but so one Christmas, I forgot what Christmas it was while I was still living in SoCal. I actually spent Christmas Eve at Family Fun.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think my parents. Oh, okay, I remember why. Okay, so I think my parents had decided to go visit my sister, who at the time was living in Texas. But I had made the trip a couple times already, and I was like, I'm done. I'll stay alone during Christmas at home. They were like, okay. And so I actually, so I remember it was me and my best friend Marvin, aka Mr. Universe. You probably
Oh,
remember playing him,
universe.
Mr. Universe. So
Yes.
so like he's not doing anything for Christmas Eve. I'm not doing anything for Christmas Eve. So what do? Oh, we're just gonna go to Family.
Yeah, naturally.
And so another person that was at Family that I guess didn't have anything to do was Ed Ma.
What? What? So, so wait. So you, the universe, and Edma. Okay.
So obviously we stayed at Family until closing. So I did spend Christmas Eve and Christmas when it hit midnight at Family Fun playing Third Strike. And I remember
Nice.
it was like there was a pretty good size of maybe 20 people left at Family. And it was cool, like, hey, Merry Christmas. But like just I was thinking in my head, like, is anyone else like thinking, wow, like, why are we here on Christmas? Like, I don't know. Like, I was like, maybe not, but whatever.
Families
Anyway,
to go to. Yeah,
yeah.
like
So
no. Well,
yeah. So long story short, basically, what ends up happening is basically I don't exactly remember what it is, but I think it was like really late, and so I think it was really late, and so I think Ed offered me and Mr. Universe to stay over at his house after after family closed,
Yeah, yeah.
and so we stayed over at his house. And then we all went to Arcade Infinity. We went to Arcade Infinity on and had Christmas dinner at that Chinese restaurant that was attached to the Apple
Oh, that's
Store.
awesome. So cool.
I
Oh man.
spent a Christmas dinner with Ed Ma, Mr. Universe at a Chinese restaurant, and we went. And I don't even remember if AI was open. I don't even know if AI was open. I think we got there and we're like, oh shit, AI is not open. I'm not sure. I don't remember because I don't remember
Man.
playing Third Strike on that day. But anyway,
Oh
that's my
god. Yeah.
that's my Christmas family fun story. Go ahead.
Oh, that is beautiful. That needs to be told more often. That is absolutely amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, like the AI days were great, and then obviously like FFA, and there is actually footage of one of the last tournaments we ran at FFA, the end of the world tournament. I think I don't know if his channel is still up, but Offcast still has that. He has
Oh,
the
we can look it
footage.
up, man. We can see if it's
Yeah.
there.
Um. So we did this giant generals tournament. If you guys are,
Yeah. Here, let's
yeah,
go. Let's look it up. Let's watch it
yeah.
here, man.
It's
Might as
like
well.
it's like FFA end of world generals.
Yeah.
The tournament was like 5 stars team versus Pyro Lee's team, because obviously those two were that is actually it.
Yeah.
We couldn't get direct feed into the cab because it was shorting the circuits on it or whatever. So Lewis, who was there, oh my god, yeah. So Lewis, offcast, he sets up a camera on Yee's side, and we literally just straight video vidcam the footage there, straight on. Like we had audio, like it was me and Gutex on commentary for the while, because I started getting into commentary, and then of course when we all started getting called up to play, because we started going through the teams, like it became me, and it was like me and what's his face? It was me and Eric Shin for a
Is this
while.
Lennon?
Lennon, I wanted,
No.
I
What is this?
no.
This isn't. Is this Yi playing first?
No, 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 no. We had
See what the order was here.
that was like Gabriel, I think, who was that Q. It was a long while ago. Gabriel used to give me fits when he played, when we played back at our Moore Park College. That's how I remember him. And then, obviously 6 years later, come back kind of out of the hyperbolic time chamber, and I'm just like scraping him left and right. But it was still like just good times. Like we put a bunch of like lower level players. Obviously, I don't like want to call them bad, but in chess, your pawns always go first, if you want to call it that. But that was that tournament. We started it, and that was we actually planned to do that tournament the week before, um, but obviously FFA got shut down because we had too many people, and the fire marshal came over. He's like, you guys are fucking breaking fire code. So Ralph gives this really impassioned speech about keeping the arcade scene alive. It is honestly beautiful, and I'm very.
Is it videotaped at all or recorded or anything?
Somebody has it. I'm not sure if it's on YouTube, but because the fire marshal shut us down, we did this tournament on December 20th, 2012, the night before the world was supposed to end. So that's why this tournament is called the End of the World tournament.
Uh,
And
yeah,
it hit,
2012. Yeah, yeah.
yes, so it hits midnight, and obviously you hear us celebrate like, oh, it's the apocalypse, and
Uh,
it's the worst apocalypse ever. But we
uh,
were still playing Third Strike, so but it's a good time. A lot of people played out of their flipping minds. Like Mio, who's one of the Ken players, he plays later on. He
mhm,
has like a four game win streak against everybody before Rob Greco takes him out.
uh.
You see for Farai Goki, I think style all on a mirror
Oh
of all
my
players.
gosh.
Yeah, that was sick. And it really does come down to Yi versus Pyro, and then Pyro I think won. So our team won, which is pretty cool. But all in all, like it was just such a like that was a fun tournament, because we did the generals tournament, and then we did 3-on-3 same character exhibition. So there was a Yun team, a Yun team, an Alex team. I think there was a Urian team. I think there was a Ken team, but it was like just all kinds of still like cool things that we just wanted to do, like dream matches that happened.
Uh-huh.
And just like we were there till about 3, 4, 5 in the morning that night, just like playing 3S. And because we knew like the family was closing and Ralph like deserved a proper send off and not the one that was robbed from him by the fire marshal. So that was one of the most fun times I can remember playing 3S and just living the good days. Like people showed up from out of nowhere. Like Ulster David was there at one point, or he might have been there the previous week. Like guys like Sanchez showed up. Obviously Ty was there. It was just one of like honestly one of my most cherished memories of 3S was literally that at the end of the World Tournament and hanging out and getting to play 3S with just everybody. Like the gang was all back. I mean, there were people that were missing, but you had most of them there, and that it was just like one of those days where I was like, man, if you had a chance to like relive a day in your life, that's like one of my choices because it was just like pure fun. So
Yeah, man, definitely. A lot of memories, a lot of memories.
oh yeah.
So, family closes, and so and then we enter, I guess, what you could call the OE era.
Yeah, the
But
OER, yeah.
there's that certain point where it's like, where everyone starts kind of looking towards online, and so
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about like your experience playing Third Strike online. Like I can only assume like you started at the beginning, like I did with GGPO, right? So or not even
Well,
before that. Like I think there was something before that,
there was like 2DF
two
or
the F or whatever. So like
yeah.
tell me about your like kind of experiences of online Third Strike, like past, present.
I mean, I got it. I actually got into the GGPO era a little late. Just because I didn't have access to a strong enough computer that could play it. And luckily, the roommate I had at the time in like 2010 let me put it on his computer because he was like, "Yeah, dude, like chilling. You're here, and you could use this, whatever." So we would play, and I had a borrowed arcade stick from a friend. Um, I learned how to, I learned about some of the names that were on there on like GGPO and some of the online personalities
Mm-hmm.
like Too Nasty and uh, guys like Lewis Cipher. If that name rings a bell. That dirty guy. um, but and getting into 3S that way and understanding like, wow, this is the game is completely different and
Mm.
uh, not just because it's online, you're not at an arcade cabinet and it's running at different speeds because different computers online, but just the play styles. There was this very like devil may care attitude about like about playing because like it's like, all right, well, you don't see me doing anything and I'm not paying for it, so fuck it, I'm just gonna do things, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was jarring at first because coming from that, oh god, yeah, like Drop Dead Eddie, don't get me started about that guy.
Oh, I
uh
remember that name,
yeah,
Drop Dead Eddie.
he
Oh
still
my
shows up on
goodness!
PSN still, but
Wow.
yeah, so
Iron Man Combo X.
uh,
Oh
I'm gonna
no.
get to those names. I'm not gonna lie.
Yo,
So,
Duralath. Okay, I just came up
ugh,
with the most genius idea, Katie. I'm glad that you're in the chat.
yeah.
Ben, I got you, dog. We need to run for charity a Tournament of Legends Fightcade Third Strike tournament, dog. like the Fightcade Third Strike Legends tournament. I would watch the shit out of that tournament.
Okay.
Wow.
Here's the thing.
Like
Here's the thing
invitation
about
only. Invitation only. Fightcade
wow.
Partheon of Legends tournament.
Okay, I was gonna say if it's invite only, then you get to choose who plays. So it's like if it's like if the criteria were online notoriety is the only thing,
No,
obviously
it's a combination of everything,
yeah.
Like for sure, Too Nasty is in the tournament, right?
Okay, Two
For
Nasty's
sure,
in,
Too
yeah.
Nasty is in the tournament. Who else would be in the tournament?
Like Sandy Bags would be in
Oh,
there. But I mean here's my thing
right.
is that like here's my thing is that if a tournament like that happens and you've got to pull the notorious names, the three guys that are probably gonna like the three favorites to win that tournament: Veilside LGD,
Uh huh.
aka Tenrin,
Uh huh.
Neiman, what up Neem, or fucking Cruz. Like Like one of those
There's
guys.
a lot of players that you're kind of leaving out that are, aren't slouches on Fightcade, dude.
They're not, but I'm gonna call in if we're going by their experience now, just the way they play now and what they know. Those would be my top 3 picks, honestly. Like there
And
are
that
some.
Oro player, what was the name of that Oro player?
Oh, oh God! Somebody tell me.
Oh, dude, how did I forget his name? I'm sorry. What
You're
was his
talking
name?
about. Oh, I know who you're talking about. He's the
Harov?
Hrove. Yeah,
Harov could easily win that tournament.
Hrove could win. Yeah, Hrove
Oh
could do
my,
it.
yes, the Gods of Fightcade tournament. That's what we need to call it.
Oh God! See, that's
Gods
gonna
of Fightcade. GOF.
God's.
Gods of Fightcade.
No,
That's
no, no.
what
It's
we.
gonna be. It's the golf tournament, the Gods of Laggy Fightcade,
Oh
aka golf.
no! It starts, Duralath.
Yeah, we're playing golf here,
It
okay?
starts.
But see, like my whole
Oh,
thing was, you play the online players, and obviously it plays into PS3 and 360, and
yeah.
like it was good because we had a way to play, but learning to play. Fucking
Can
joke. I'm sorry, I just saw that's
to
genius.
the Fightcade.
Oh God, like
Yes, that's a sick title. Enter the Fightcade.
enter the fight. Okay,
I
yeah,
like that.
I'd be
Enter the
about that.
Fightcade.
Stamp
Okay.
that. Let's make this happen.
Oh, this
Uh,
is this. You gotta hear it, dude.
you
Arc Slayer.
Oh, AC Slayer, yeah.
AC
Oh, yeah,
Slayer, excuse me,
but
AC Slayer, who's
yeah,
really
AC
an
Slayer.
offline player, but AC Slayer.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like there's a lot of players that are notable
Uh,
offline now. That
Arxer.
Arxer, yeah,
Oh my
definitely.
god.
They're yeah. I
Justin
guess
Bieber.
like all the troll names on there, like Bodler and
Bodler. He
Bodler,
is the
yeah.
the Bodler is the patron saint of all Third Strike 5K players. Bodler is the patron saint of all Third Strike
Oh
5K
my
players.
god.
We need to make this happen.
It's gonna
It
happen.
has to
In
happen.
16-man tournament, we'll vet who gets to enter and make sure
Yes.
it's actually them.
Yes.
You get the trolls on PS3 and 360, obviously, because now
Losers
it's on.
get DDoSed. Is that what we're gonna do?
Oh fucking hell. Dander. Well, Dander's done with Third Strike. Like the last I remember, he was actually playing League. He went to League of Legends. Like first went to like Smash Brothers because he tried to get into that scene, and then he was playing League last I checked. Because he showed up at a stream I was doing in like 2013, like randomly, because they were doing like Street Fighter All Nighter for the Twin Galaxies, and that was when like obviously everybody's playing Ultra, and like I get to show up on a random night because I finally have a Sunday free, and lo and behold, it's fucking like Dander, like Lennon. I'm like, wait a minute, like what are you doing here? Like, how'd you find out about this? And like I find out like he's like sort of still playing Street Fighter, but he's playing more League now because obviously League of Legends was still huge, but he could possibly be that. I actually like. Fun fact: Dander never beat me in tournament. Like every time,
Uh
every
oh.
time, every time Dander and I cross
Uh
paths, so, like I always beat him. Like because he used to be an Alex main,
oh.
and
Hmm.
he played I played the black and white Alex back then before I switched to white and blue, and he played like the yellow Alex, the really annoying color,
Hmm.
and like every time we played, like I would beat him because I had a sense of I'm going to win this, like because he was trying to do fancier stuff than I was because I was playing very basic, and then like obviously he switched to Ken, and then the last time we played in tournament he played Ken, and ended up eliminating him like 2-1 in like semifinals. He never beat me, and we had a discussion about this because he was always like, well, we need to play for a longer set because I want to see how things develop, and I was like, I'm cool with playing a longer set, dude, but I'm just saying in tournament play, you've never beaten me because, somehow I've always been able to clutch out against you. You're trying too hard to beat me. It's not hard to beat me. You just got to control what I'm doing, but you're trying to throw like a right overhead hook when all I'm doing is literally just standing there and with one guard up. Like, come on, man. You're playing Ken. Like, no disrespect, Dander, but you're overthinking the goddamn match. Just
Hmm.
play me solid and
Hmm.
you'll do better. Like, yeah, I'm gonna catch you off guard with a couple of things, but like either way though, is like he was always fun to play, and he did play at FFA, back in the heyday days, like 2006 and everything. But so he'd be fun to put on that tournament. Like the guys I want to see actually play in a tournament and actually go through it, like the aforementioned Iron Man combo, uh, names that were in the chat earlier. Like, let's see, you put him in there. Drop Dead Eddie, guys that I guess kind of don't like me. I'm not gonna lie.
Who was the player who played SA2 Can?
Oh God, SA2. That wasn't Merle Tag, was it? Because Merle plays proper now. No, it wasn't him. No. God, KD, you might know this. I know who you're talking about.
Biggie
Biggie's, yeah,
Smalls.
Biggie.
Biggie
He would
Smalls.
land it every time. Like how? And
Has
it's
to
just
happen. This has to
yeah.
happen. Duralath.
One of the things that I always chided everybody online for, and I've gotten into arguments about this before. They were dumb arguments. I'm not gonna lie. Obviously I might have been drinking, or I might have been really angry about other things and trying to taking it out on people. But like I would always like play, and then like heel Duralath would come in and be like, dude, like why the fuck are you doing that? Like I call him out on like a shitty out like a win they scrubbed out, and they're like, well, I fucking won, didn't I? And then it'd be a useless argument because I'm not going to I'm not going to break through any of their heads about like, well, proper play this, proper play that. And that's on me too, because like, if I lost to it, okay, that's on me because I messed up. So like, I got to find a way to like not let that happen again. And sure enough, things don't happen. But like I alluded to earlier, in online play, there's a very devil may care attitude about the way a lot of players approach it, because you don't have the other body there, your opponent, across from you or next to you, and you're not feeling that energy there. You're playing in the comfort of your own home or wherever you may be. So you have a tendency to like let loose and do things that you normally wouldn't do in a pressure situation. And so, one thing I always called out people for, like, you know, we go into a lobby and they get scraped like 25 to like, I don't know, 2 or 1, whatever's, and they're like, all right, I got you on those. I know I can beat you. I'm like, try that in a fucking online offline match. And they're like, well, third strike is third strike. You got to adapt. I get that, but try the same trick when it's offline and you're in that pressure situation, because there is a difference. And you got guys that can play both online and offline. They play very competently. They're guys that they can't play online because the timing really does change. And like I'm even feeling that now. Like I can't like go on the anniversary edition on PS4 or Steam, play for like 3 hours, and then go to Dawn's and immediately expect to be just as competent. No, it's like it's different. Like you can feel the timing shift and the energy shift, where it's different playing that way. And you know I always want people to come from online and play the game offline so they can understand, like, it's a whole different ball game. Like, you're going from like double A in baseball to the majors immediately. That's kind of like how I feel online versus offline play is. Like, you're playing in like double triple A and then going offline. Now you're in the major leagues. You're in the big boy leagues now. Like, it's jarring. The good thing is, though, there are some players that really have come from the online scene and really stepped up, and they understand now. And I'm really thankful for those players, because now they get a chance to take back what they found from like coming offline, going to the offline and going to a big tournament like the Jazzy finale. And they get to play that now and bring that to their community and like, hey, this is what it's like. And now we're going to emulate that because we want this offline feeling in our scene. And that's like the cool shit that I love about the 3S scene and what good comes out of the online. So it's not all useless, to be perfectly honest. It's definitely brought some good to the scene.
And I noticed that you have started streaming recently a little bit.
Yes. I started streaming, obviously, due to the quarantine and obviously not being able to do a lot of the other stuff.
And is
Like,
it just Duralath?
yeah, it is twitch.tv/Duralath. My schedule has been in flux only because obviously the nature of my work has been changing. Like, I'm switching to like 12-hour days next week, but I'm only working 3 of them. So I'll be able to stream more. And I've also been helping my roommates. They're actually streaming right now. They're streaming Gears of War, and they are just getting into it. So I've been helping them build their streams as well and kind of giving them advice. But it's literally like all their content. Like, they're making the clips, doing the content, and designing things. And I'm just like, hey, you can do this too to add to your stream. So kind of in that mentorship role, but also trying to rebuild what I tried to start like 3-4 years ago. It's been something that I've always wanted to do, and I never felt like my equipment was good enough. And then I made one major upgrade recently, and it made all the difference. I was like, wow, like the difference in quality between what I did in 2016 and 2017 versus now is like night and day. Like, and I was like, well, if I really do just invest in myself, like just buy simple parts enough to where I know things look decent, then I can make something happen. Like Katie Alpha in the chat, like saying he remembers like what I was doing with Twin Galaxies, and funny enough, the computer I have is an old computer from Twin Galaxies that Jace Hall was kind enough to let me borrow for the time being. And shout outs to Jace Hall, great guy. Just purveyor of classic gaming. He gave me a platform in those those early 2010s, and he would let me stream Third Strike, although he would talk major trash about it to try and get me riled up about it, which was also very fun. But shout out to that. But the whole I think part of it, especially like online, is you have to be willing to adapt to that. Alex by a while back said like, yeah, you're playing your game online. You can't expect it to play offline for obvious reasons, but you also can't expect the mentality of the other player to be like, well, you're going to play it offline. So it is a different game, and it does test your mettle, and you have to be, if you're going to play it, you have to be willing to accept that you have to adapt to this new variable, if you want to call it that. So, but it's been definitely useful, and I've made some really good friends out of it. And I think in my own experience now, when I'm not actively pissed off at people for doing dumb shit online, uh, I'm actively trying to connect with other players and be like, hey, like that was pretty good. Like, hey, like what were you looking for? Like I'm picking their brains and being like, hey, like what were you looking for with this? And if they don't know, then instead of me being Mr. Villain, like, hey, like, well, you fucked up. Don't do that next time. It's like, okay, it's like understanding where they're coming from and understanding they're not playing the same game that I am, but now it's up to me to be that bridge between online only play and hey, there's a whole different world out here that you could be experiencing. And if you're up for it, like if you're down, like come with and let's play. And there's some good players that I've definitely seen improve a lot between just being their online persona and what they are now. And if I can be of a little service to the community on that, then I feel like maybe I'm making some change for the 3S community.
Yeah, definitely. But just as a fan, just as a viewer, Duralath, like I said, I would watch the shit out of a Fightcade, Gods of Fightcade Third Strike tournament. Oh my, it would be the best thing.
So
no troll. I would love to watch that, dude.
I gotta ask then, if we do, if it's a Fightcade tournament, the king of golf enter the Fightcade, are we gonna simulate? Because it's gonna be an online tournament. Are we gonna actually?
What if we just included all of the retro games, dude?
Ooh.
What if we got Surge, Arcadium, we got ST? I know VSAV. They stream for a Fightcade. Those KOF dudes, man, make like a Fightcade Palooza or something. That would be sick. Dude, yeah, I would watch the shit out of that.
But see, like now we can't call it golf because now we're making fun of it, like king of like the gods of laggy Fightcade. Now it's just gods of Fightcade.
It would be like Fightcade Palooza. It would be like the Burning Man of online FGC tournaments.
Yeah.
It would be like just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and I see in the chat like Ultimate Humpy is saying you got to put 5K general chat on the overlay. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my gosh!
I'm pretty sure if that happened, the stream would get banned. Let's just be perfectly honest. Like
that's why we got to broadcast it from different server and different services.
Yeah, like keep it Twitch safe. Let's be real, or market for mature audiences.
Or we design a bot. We design a bot that will like just censor things and just like all you'll see in the chat is just censored, like block.
Oh, like I guarantee the people who wouldn't be in the tournament would just be creating new accounts and just flooding the chat just over and over and over. They'd have like
Yeah.
5 different alts just for this sort of thing. My lord.
You know, we could even make it a competition. It'd be like, hey, Fightcade versus the Twitch moderators, dude. Like how godlike do you think you are, moderators? Like,
Okay.
can you handle the Fightcade general chat? Let's see.
Oh my lord. I'm not sure. I'm not even
Like,
sure.
you know, can you
That
handle that?
I mean, like, to be fair, like something like that would be good because I know that guys like Venkabot, who are like, by the way, Venka is my hero. Honestly, I say this with the utmost honesty. Like, I'm so thankful for Venka. Like, he jumped into Third Strike knowing very little about the game, and in the past year and a half to 2 years that he's really been grinding the game. Like, I've watched his evolution. He's so much stronger now. But beyond that, he's really been like the cornerstone, the linchpin of everybody who still supports the scene. And like, shout outs to him, man. Like, he's really given
Yes.
Third Strike second life. Like I don't care who you are, but that man deserves like a medal or at least like an Eskimo pie or something for like the work he's done. He's basically saved 3S, if you ask me.
He is the well, he does have the hair for it.
He does.
Is he the real Venka God? Venka
Venka
God, Katie.
God.
Venka
Yes,
God. I
yes,
like it.
I believe
Venka
it.
God.
Yeah,
Venka
and
God is
like,
now known as Venka God.
Venka God. Yeah, like
Maybe
watching.
GAWD.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Because you
like
know
he needs the
he's still a
God.
new player, but like when he ascends and he starts like really being godlike, then we'll change it from GAWD to GOD.
Yeah, he's got to
He's got to
progress
earn
through the
the
levels.
yeah, he's got to earn the GOD. Let's not get too
Yeah,
ahead of ourselves. But
and the good thing is the good thing now is like with Venka, being so willing to stream Third Strike and being so consistent about it. And I feel like all the other Splinter communities around that weren't confident about streaming Third Strike because there wasn't really an audience for it, on Twitch, on YouTube, and any of the gaming spheres, because there really wasn't an audience for it. But
mm-hmm.
Venka was willing to stream his ascent into learning it, and you've got all the other Splinter communities now, like Scrub series, over in the Midwest, like Texas showing up in droves now. There's scenes in Colorado, and they're all popping up all over the place. Like Chicago's got a revitalized scene now, and I can't sing the man's praises enough for being stepping up and being like, hey, this classic game deserves its love, and because of his devotion to it, he's really given all these other communities a chance to say, hey, we can do it too. And good thing is now it's all uniting into one thing. Yeah, like Boiler Room, for example, like Boiler Room was streaming constantly as well. Like, I gotta give shout.
I always see Boiler Room as like the lighthouse, dog. Like
Yeah.
it's like the lighthouse that stays on forever. Like you will
Yeah,
continue to like run that light for
yeah. Like
wayward FGC players. Duralath, the
the
lighthouse
boiler
will
room
continue to
the
stay
boiler
on.
room is amazing, by the way. I got to play there over one of my, I think it was before I moved out to where I live now. I mean, I'm not far from there, but I got to go over there over one of my over one of my holiday breaks. And shout outs, yeah, to the boiler room. And the SoCal guys, like it we focus on the definite level of how we play, and it's just no frills. And I love that about the boiler room too. There's really no frills, just Third Strike, just good times too. And joining that revolution, and they've been another constant as well. And you're definitely right, been mighty. Like, that's on me being a SoCal guy myself. Boiler room definitely a huge bastion of just high level gameplay, and you get really cool stuff like Nice Guy Mark versus FM Juan. Their first to five, which was an amazing match. If you guys have not seen that, by the way, Mark, who came back from like Tokyo, he was in Japan, and his Urian leveled up versus FM Juan, Fear Max Juan, who plays his main's Denshin Ryu, but he can play anybody in the cast.
Yeah,
And they have the sickest first to five. Like, you think it goes one way, and then somebody comes back, and the final match is a nail biter. Like, that's you couldn't ask more. And you get that kind of stuff, like the high level play at the Boiler Room too. And there's so many personalities there. Yeah, like Boiler Room Harry. Uh, yeah, guys like Rod that play there. One of my personal favorites is Bessels, who I've personally watched Bessels' uh, evolution from young scrub to young just near master, dude. Like Bessels came up to me at like an anime expo in like 2016 of all places, and like he'd been watching my Twin Galaxy streams, and I was like, dude, like thank you so much for supporting. And I was like, who's this like this young Kai? He's like 18 yet. I don't even know, and he wants to learn Third Strike, but he really grinded the game, and next thing I know, like dude is like way better than me. Like no joke. Like his execution, his knowledge of the game, and he's been spearheading that younger generation of all these players that just want the game. And it's like you're doing with this podcast now. It's like you're giving a spotlight to somebody who is playing the game, and now we're able to connect all the spotlights on there, the lighthouse, the constants, and now everybody's starting to get united, and we're getting something here that we didn't think it was possible before, but now we're shooting ourselves in the feet for not doing it earlier, but we're doing it now, and that's honestly, it's fucking beautiful. It's fucking amazing.
So let's talk a little bit about your main man, like Alex.
Oh
You know,
god.
um, I know you said that you were going to tell us your sort of weird story of how Alex became your main. So tell me about how you settled on the pro wrestling,
Okay,
the
so
American pro wrestling.
yeah, for freedom prevails. Well,
Freedom prevails.
I did allude to it earlier. It was that FFA 2v2 video, and Ty Mitchell Rennick was the one playing, and I heard 5-star yell Batista bomb when Ty landed a power bomb
Mm-hmm.
on, I think it was Ed Mob of all people. Um, and what had happened, like I was like, I want that to be my thing. Like I want people to yell Batista bomb if I land a power bomb.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like nowhere near Ty's level at that time. But one of the reasons why I picked Alex, and it's the dumbest reason in my opinion, was because mid screen you can't Kara DP, you can't double DP Alex mid screen off of a regular setup. Like he has to be like on air on top of you for Ken to even get a double DP on him. But you couldn't do that because that was like back then. I was like, well, the one thing I should really be afraid of, and mistakenly, was like double DP, double dragon from Ken. And I was like, well, Alex can't be double dragon punched mid screen. And I was like, okay, well, that's like one thing that I don't have to worry about. But the main thing was it was mostly like simple execution, because like any asshat could do like close standing medium kick into EX flash chop, and it was just so bare basic gameplay, but it like bare basic gameplay that gave you a big reward on it. And that was my whole thing was, if I can just land these things, then I win. And it's funny that I mentioned that now because there's this podcast with Pyro Lee where Gutex interviewed Pyro Lee, and his beginnings. Pyro, before he became a Yen player, was a Ken player, and his mentality was, well, I have Ken. If I can just land strong fierce, I'm good because I can just confirm in the super, right? And obviously that wasn't the case because players who had more experience were beating him at the time, right? And that was like the journey I had to go through. I was like, well, if I can just land like standing medium kick in the EX flash, like I'm golden. But no, I couldn't get around that. But I put so much time into Alex, and I was genuinely having fun playing it. And this is at the time where you know you were kind of looked down upon for switching characters. Like you had to have your main. And I was like, oh, I set on Alex as my main. And I can't change now because I played in tournament with him, and I've like got my name on the credits of one of the ranking battles. And I played Alex. I'm like, well, everybody knows me as an Alex player right now. I can't like get away from that. And it was this moment where I was at Moore Park College, where semester starting, and I was break time, and I'm playing Alex. I'm just all this, all the lower level players there, and Rob Greco shows up. Rob Greco plays Salmon Chun, Roundhouse Chun, and he recognizes me from the tournaments. But I was going by Duralath at that point, and I was going by Duralath on SRK, Shoryuken.com, the forums there. So my whole thing was he noticed me. He was like, "Oh yeah, you're Duralath, right? Like, yeah, you're an Alex player." And I was like, "You fucking know who I am? Like, that's whoa, like that's weird to me,
You
dude."
made it, dude.
Yeah, so somebody knew who I was, and me and Greco, we always kept tabs on each other. He would always beat me. He had Chun Alex, and Chun Alex is like a million to one in terms of the matchup, but it was always good times. Because we always played at interface, and we definitely pushed each other. On more than one occasion in terms of playing against each other. But I couldn't shake Alex for like the longest time because I always had that mentality of I need one main, and then maybe when I get good enough I can switch to another.
Mhm.
I really didn't start playing another character uh, seriously until 2007 when I moved to LA, and I picked up Urian because I wanted to learn how to play against Urian with
Mhm.
Alex. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna pick up Urian and just learn like how does he set up his unblockables, and how does he like how does he utilize the Aegis. And my thing was just like I started really liking like, oh well, that's really like headbutt Aegis or like tackle Aegis and dumb shit. And I was like, I'm actually like, really having fun with this character. Like I kind of want to learn it more. So what I do, go to FFA and start playing like the casual players there, and playing Urian and all these other characters. And soon next thing I know, like I'm actually kind of enjoying it more. But
Mhm.
going into like heavy level play, and I'm like, I don't trust myself enough to play any other character except Alex because I've invested so much time. And call it sunk cost, what you will, but it just felt right to, one, like you said earlier, have that that life advantage, the vitality advantage. I could take a hit and not have to worry about it. Simple gameplay where my combos aren't exactly the greatest. They don't require much technical execution at all, but it was about finding ways to land power bomb, to land Kara throw, and work the spacing. And I think it actually taught me how to play without the reliance of stronger tools. Because I feel like a lot of players when they start, I had this conversation with a player from SF4 who wanted to transition into 3S years ago, and he was like, "I just want to win. I'm going to play Chun Li," and I'm like, "But that's not how Third Strike works. Like, you can't just pick up a character and expect to win. Like, we'll make you work for it. Like, I've seen Q players absolutely shit all over Chun Li players. Yeah, like their names don't have to be Kuroda even, but you like to me it was just very satisfying to for me, personal victories like landing those power bombs and like yelling quietly to myself, Batista bomb. Like, yes, and it was fun to, net those wins. And soon after, I was starting to, people were starting to notice. And the one thing that really helped was to be able to generate fear because of how well Alex snowballs and how well I was able to, catch people and get the momentum rolling. And I was like, I can't drop this now. Like, to be fair, I actually almost dropped Alex right after Co-op Cup. I almost dropped him, and this has happened on a variety of occasions. I
What year
almost
was this around? What year was this?
well, Co-op Cup, the year I went was 2017.
Mhm.
Even and there were times before that where I almost dropped. I was like, I can't do this anymore because I feel like I'm being held back. And I was actually gonna make a permanent switch to Makoto. Like a lot of people know that I play Alex, Makoto. I can play almost the entire cast. And I was like, well, if I'm gonna bank on better options, I'm gonna go with a character that's similar in nature, and I'm gonna go with Makoto. And for a while, like I was like heavily like playing Makoto, and people thought that my main was Makoto at the time. But in those in like if I'd get far in tournament, I would go back to Alex just almost instinctively because I didn't trust myself enough to play Makoto at that level. And there are times where I still don't. Obviously, like it's different now. In some of my tournament recordings, like you'll see me play Urian, Makoto, Yun. I've played Yang before because I felt really saucy, and I was like, I got the guy I'm playing. Like I'm not gonna bring out like a high level, like a high character I've invested a lot into. But um, after like during Co-op Cup and after I like a little, I almost switched because I was like, I think I've taken this character as far as I can. Uh, you know, and like during Co-op Cup, I got waxed. Like I was like dead weight to my teams, and I felt so fucking terrible because I was like I let down the team that we put together. It was an ad hoc team, but I was like I could have played much better. But then playing in Tokyo and playing against guys like Sho, like Bentoya, got to play against Tominaga, got to play against Hayao, and I was like, I'm gonna go, like I gotta go with like my guts. Like you remember the movie like Rookie of the Year? Does that ring a bell?
No, not really.
Okay, so Rookie of the Year, obviously is a movie about a young boy who like has an arm injury but discovers he can throw like really
Is
fast.
this a Disney movie?
No, it was like 90, it was like 94, 95. It should be a Disney movie. It might be, I don't know. But basically there's a character in that movie. His name is Chet Stebbins, it's played by Gary Sinise.
And what's it called?
And
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year,
Go
yeah.
watch the trailer.
Oh, no, please don't watch the show. It's terrible.
Yeah, we're gonna watch
But
the trailer. Hold up.
oh god.
Let's watch the
But
trailer.
let me put it this way.
All right, let's
Yeah,
see.
you'll see, like, yeah, like that's Chet Stedman, and he's like a washed up veteran, right? Um, and obviously the kid there, they're like, oh yeah, they got the home run from the opposite team, and there's fucking Henry Rowan Gardner, um, and they're like, okay, yeah, it's Cubs rules, bleacher rules, you can't keep a home run from the opposing team, so freaking Rowan Gardner decides that he's like, I'm gonna throw it back, and they discover like because of his arm injury, he can throw it at like 100 miles per hour. This is like ridiculous. So but the reason why I bring that up is Chet Stedman, who was the pitcher that he replaced, um, in that they go into like the Championship Series game, right? And what happens is what happens is uh, they're not going to start Rowan Gardner. Instead, they start Stedman instead, right? And the reason is the manager's like, I got to go with my instinct. I got to go with my gut on this one. Like, I got to go with what I trust in a championship game. Because, like, Rowan Gardner's like the new hotness, but he's never played in a championship game. Stedman has, though, and he's got his arm back. So, like, that's the way I looked at it at that time was just like, I can't trust myself to play Makoto against a guy, like, against a strong player like a Yuki, a Nika KO, a 5-star, where they have more matchup experience than I do against them using this character. Like my matchup experience against them is Alex, like only. So like I've got to go with what I trust there. But when I almost switched, I had a question. I was like, like have I gone as far as I can with Alex? Like I'm losing more than I feel I'm willing to accept. And the switch almost came. Like Makoto and Yoon were about to be the duo that was playing, and then playing in Tokyo and realizing like, no, I've still got a lot left with Alex. I was playing him at a lower level, and these guys just took me to a whole new level of what am I doing wrong as a player. And now once I found out what I'm doing wrong, I can apply it now to Alex and modify the gameplay of what I'm doing. And because of that, it started snowballing into this whole thing where I've got I've got all these players that are now asking me for Alex advice, and I'm like, I can't let these guys down. Like these guys are also giving me ideas on what to do with Alex. Like guys like Shinebox, Diaper Bomb. You got a couple of the New York guys that are showing up too and starting Alex, and it's like, okay, I can't give up this character just yet, and I'm still able to. I'm still a hard out in tournaments. Like I can still win a couple of these with my old ass, shitty ass character who can't defend worth shit, but I'm still able to play at that level, and I've still got that fear. And I like that's what I love about it is that the fear of getting hit with overhead fears. They have the fear of getting hit with the headbutt for like 40% stun. And I'm like, if I can still, I'm still willing to trust myself on that. And now we're playing the veteran level game where it's not like stupid heavy execution because that was never Alex anyway. Now we're playing it like Bernard Hopkins. We're playing smart. We're playing in a way that, now I'm going to put you in a bad position because you got tagged by this like five engages ago. And now I feel like I'm getting to that level where, maybe if I'd gotten smarter years ago, I'd be even further, but I'm here now. And not only am I here now at that level, I'm helping my Alex army. Shout outs to the guys like Hold Dat, who like I still think is way better than me as an Alex player. And guys that still like Rennick who's still playing, but all the younger guys that are coming up with Alex too. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna let you guys down. Like I'm still gonna play. Like I'm still playing other characters too, but these guys are showing me that they love the character too, and I'm like, I'm not gonna abandon you guys right now because that would not be what I want to do with this game, especially because you guys are looking to me for uh, like what experience I have and pitfalls that I had to succumb to, that I can be like, hey, you guys don't need to go through this,
Mhm.
and you've even got veteran guys like Soul Avenger who, uh, you know, still love it and still shows me new stuff from time to time, and still catches me off guard. And he's been a positive force with keeping people united to not just Alex wise, but also just overall general wise in the 3S community as well. Like he's got the PSN chat running and getting people invited in there, and that's just but to be fair, as far as Alex goes, I probably still going to be playing this character when I'm 50, when my execution goes to even like worse levels than it is now. But it's still just going to be fun. So
Dude, I always felt like, the top three, to me, like the top three characters I fear the most. Number three is Chun,
naturally,
because like at the end of the day, if you play somebody that almost never fucks up,
yeah,
you're always behind the eight. Okay, so that's
yeah,
number
right.
three. The second scariest character is Alex,
Really?
and the first and the scariest character is Alex with meter.
Okay.
Because
It,
Alex, man, woo, I am frightened of that character. Like,
hmm,
just damage output. Let me ask you like a strategic question, Duralath.
okay.
So
Okay.
at the beginning of a match, round one,
Hmm.
is there any reason for Alex not to be aggressive right away?
Uh,
And I don't mean like, oh, let me just blindly jump at you at the beginning of the round. I'm talking
mhm,
about in terms of like spacing and space control. Like, don't like, because sometimes what I see a lot of novice Alex players do is
mhm,
round one, right, and then they do
yeah.
what I like to call the art of fighting. They
Yeah.
try to
Yeah.
go, you know, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like,
Um.
because they're thinking like, oh, okay, this is a 7-3 matchup,
Right.
art
Right.
of fighting,
Right.
but like like the character, like if you're playing someone who's smart, like they
Mhm.
understand how dangerous Alex is. You
Right.
know what I
Right.
mean? And so, even without meter, Alex is fucking scary, right?
Yeah.
But when he gets the meter, oh my gosh, I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I,
I
I
don't
I
know.
definitely, I could definitely agree with that. The only characters I wouldn't go buck wild against off the get go, Twins and Ken, like
Mm-hmm.
off the first guides. Like, we're assuming round one, correct? Like
Yeah,
no meter whatsoever.
yeah.
Um, Alex Chun, you kind of have to do that. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
lie, you have to, because if you go on the defensive against Chun, you're already shooting yourself in the ass right there. Like you've already lost ground. So until Chun gets that meter, she's not the major threat. But of course, when she gets the meter, there goes 90% of your offense, right? But that goes to be said. Like Chun's got to be willing to trust her buttons in order to get that meter and keep Alex out. Which her buttons are good, but Twins and Ken. The reason why those are the matchups I wouldn't go buck wild round one against, and it's because all of those characters, Yun in particular is a different case per se, but Ken and Yang, I never like going buck wild against them in the beginning round one, just because
Well, I mean, I
they're
don't mean like buck wild. I just mean like
yeah
don't dash back. Like
yeah
try and be, play stand your ground. Play
oh yeah
footsies. Play
okay
neutral. Oh, he hits you
okay
like Ken
yeah
Alex, right? He hits
yeah
you with a low forward at the beginning of the round,
yeah
97 seconds in the round. Who
yeah
gives a shit if you hit me with a
yeah
low forward?
okay
I can
yeah
still fuck you up,
okay
right?
yeah okay oh
Ken
yeah
can't fuck you up yet. Alex can
yeah
fuck you up.
yeah if we're going by that
Yeah,
parameter,
yeah.
like if we're going by that, because honestly I would in that case I would say you're right, because I never dash back at the beginning of the round, just never. Doesn't matter what character it is, I don't even care what round it is, I never dash back,
Yeah.
just because it's like you said, stand your ground. Like that's one of the key components to Alex,
Hmm.
like that I've hammered home with every Alex player I've been fortunate to be a mentor to. You have to be willing to
Dude, do you
stand your ground.
remember an old school Alex player named Ghetto D?
Ghetto D, Don
Don
fucking
Sneddon?
Sneddon,
Dude,
dude.
that guy was
Oh,
the epitome of stand your ground, dude.
okay.
He grinded with guys like Valle and
I
Watson and Paulie. Dude, that guy had to learn the fucking neutral, man. Like, if he
oh
didn't, he
yeah,
would have gotten washed. And obviously, he lost more than he won, but a lot of it is because of how difficult it was, the matchups that he was dealing with. But that guy was
fun fact. Fun fact, you know how Genki does like, or and a lot of Alex players do whiff. They'll jump in and they'll whiff jump strong right above the opponent to try to bait
yeah,
a bait and
the
parry action.
Genki bomb.
The
Yeah,
Genki bomb, right?
yeah.
Believe it or not, I actually knew about that before it was the Genki bomb, and it was
Mm.
because of Don.
Because probably Don, yeah. No,
Because Don.
I swear I've seen Don do the Genki bomb, and this is like in 2000,
Oh yeah,
maybe like, or like 2001 or something like that.
yeah, because we called it the Don bomb before it was
The
the Genki
Don
bomb.
bomb.
Yeah, because it was the Don bomb. Because Don was doing that. Oh god, dude!
And do
Like,
you ever remember like the way he stood at the cab?
oh my, he had,
Like he was mowing, like he was like operating like a like a vehicle or something.
yeah, he had the widest stance. It was like he was trying to do the splits. I'm like, bro,
He really
like,
looked like he was
if you,
coming up to bat, dude. Like he just.
oh my god, oh that dude, oh he was the nicest guy though. Like he was the first pro I actually, or like pro slash high level player that I random out. I random him out at a tournament. Like
Wow.
I'll never forget it because like everybody's like, oh, it's Ghetto D versus Duralath. All right, Ghetto D, he's got it. He's gonna win this. Like Duralath, he's just random, right? It was to get top 16, and like I caught him off guard with everything. Like I had just realized, like, oh, you can cancel low short in the super. Like I can't really like do that on. I'm not gonna be able to like confirm off a low short, but I was like, well, if I catch them trying to dash back, or like if I get a dash up and I make them think dash up throw, if I space it right, like I can catch them like trying to scramble out and catch the low short super, which sure enough I did, and I caught him, and he did not see it coming, and I ended up eliminating Ghetto D. And everyone's like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like Duralath sent Ghetto D home, and I was like, it was a good fucking match, not gonna lie. And then the match afterwards, Arliath pushed my shit in. So I got my do up comeuppance, but it's like you said, you got to stand your ground with Alex. You have to be willing to trade hits because
And you
again,
can't overreact, right? Like you
no,
get hit by like some penny work or like some like little stray hits. Like okay, as long as you're not avoiding the big damage, the
yeah.
big opportunity.
Yeah, like the one thing I always, I love about Alex again, his high vitality, standing your ground, and believe it or not, his buttons aren't absolute garbage. They're kind of garbage. Let's be real, but you can kind of play a bastardized zoning game with his far standing forward, which believe it or not, if you
Well, I
time it,
always felt
yeah,
like Alex's normals are good against people who from like basically zero understanding of footsies to like
oh yeah,
intermediary. But once you
yeah,
get to like once you start facing opponents that are like on the upper echelon of the
mhm,
understanding of footsies and spacing and neutral,
yeah,
that's like and that makes sense because you've been playing Alex this long,
mhm,
right? You kind of
yeah,
realize the curve. For example, like usually with Alex players, it's like okay, like it's a little difficult, but you're winning here and there. And then there's a
yeah,
point where you're like you discover the normals, right? Like there's
yeah,
a point in your career where you discover the normals, and you're like, God, you're so
yeah,
like emboldened. And then you
yeah,
start creeping up to the top players, and you're like, then you start to flatten out and realize, okay, these normals, I
yeah,
can't just throw them out whenever I want to.
right.
Like they're not like that.
Right.
They're not nice like that.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they're not like a Shoto short.
Yeah.
You don't have a Chun Li fierce, but one of the players, and people are gonna be surprised that I'm shouting him out, is actually uh what's his face, Cameron Buckner from the one of the Nebraska
Grimlock.
guys, Grimlock. Yeah, the reason
Grimlock.
why I'm gonna shoot the reason why I want to shout him out is because he's really adept at using his lights and his jabs and his shorts. That's the thing what you're alluding to. Alex is a really underrated like jab and short. And every time I played Buckner Alex to Alex, he was really good about getting annoying with them. Like in boxing, like your jab is used to set your spacing up, to get your rhythm up, and can basically just get you in a good position. He's really good at that. And he made me realize like I'm over relying on my mediums and my heavies. I'm really not using my low short game or my tick jab game beyond just trying to set up throws and everything. And he helped me realize that that's a crucial part of the game that I'm not really putting into play. And he would catch me off guard with that a lot of times. And you know it's a hard lesson that these buttons are actually damn good. And I need to be using more of those tools. Like Alex has such shitty tools, but you've still got a plethora of them. Like, come on, he's got charge moves, he's got command moves, he's got a decent card throw for Pete's sake. Like that was like my jam was like, how many ways am I going to land card throw on you? Because it gets me at the right range, and there are ways where just automatically after what I'll do, like I'll like land like EX flash up, dash in, dash in. If you're not Ken and you don't wake up faster than me, I'm almost at range right there where I can play those card throw games. If I get you cornered, that's the range where I want to operate out of, right outside normal throw range, so that I'm not going to worry about you mashing throw on me. I'm going to force you to make a move and slightly step out of position. And that's been the focus of how I play 3S now. Is I want to try to force you off balance. I'm going to force you out of your position. And it's an uphill road with Alex, just because a lot of what he does, while you may net the damage, it forces you back into a neutral situation where the opponent wakes up and now you don't have your advantage because the opponent quick rise. Like a lot of Alex players don't understand this, and I chide them on it. Uh, After an EX flash chop knockdown, especially mid screen, unless it's like corner or whatnot, if you land EX flash chop on Ken, and Ken quick rises, Ken actually recovers faster than if Alex dashes in, Ken recovers first, and they get tagged by a low forward because they keep trying to push the momentum there. Because like, oh, I scored a knockdown, I should be able to be the aggressor here. But no, knowing that like little tidbit, they've got to be very cognizant of that, and Ken can use that to his advantage by like sticking out a low forward or a low short to catch your next dash, and if you're overextending, or if they know that that now we get to the levels of Yomi, they just you dash up into what you think is the right range. Ken walks up and throws you on as a response, because he knows you're thinking, I'm waiting for a button to be pushed out because he's going to try and stop that. But it's all about fighting the opponent and making sure that they're not comfortable in how they fight. That's really what gets you to that next level. What like when you play Third Strike, and this is true of any fighting game in general, and it's not just playing Alex, not playing Third Strike. Every fighting game, fighting games are about control. It's how well do you control your opponent, and how well do you control yourself. Because what are the elements of a fighting game? Like, you've got
And
your
that's what makes Alex so dangerous, because he doesn't need to control you very long in order to beat
yeah.
you, right? Like he does that control doesn't need to be drawn out. It's in bursts, and that's what
It's a
makes
burst,
him
yeah.
so scary.
It is. So, but the thing about it though is, in order to play Alex, you have to not just get those bursts. It's fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fear. It's the fear. It's like when you play SA2, you play against a guy who's picked Shinsho, Ryuken, and Ryu. What's the one thing you don't want to do? Jump in. Why? Because you can't guard. You can't guard in the air without parry. Correct. So if you jump in and the Ryu has like decent reactions, he can just uppercut, and like you parry the uppercut, he just canceled into Shinsho Ryuken. If you didn't anticipate that, guess what? You're eating a full fucking super raw damage, right? So the reason why like Akuma, I've said this countless times, Akuma in Third Strike has the best anti-air in the game. Like, bar none. There's no better anti-air. Uppercut into SA1, right? Because let's say he does jab uppercut
Huh.
and cancels into SA1, and you're in the air. You're forced, like, even if you hit a button and that knocks that trades, you're still going to eat the super. You just ate a hard knockdown. Sure, Akuma might take like he might take 15-20%. You just ate a super, your hard knockdown. Akuma now gets away from you, where You can't touch him, and he can play stupid spacing games, and now he's controlling you again, right? So now he's got command of the screen, and you got to think of it in terms of what can I do to wrestle away control from the opponent. With Alex, you have to use fear in order to maintain that control because, like you said, it's that burst damage that really hurts, and anybody who's good at controlling space, like a good Ken or a good Chun, that can control and force you to fight mid-screen, they're controlling you in that area. And as a result, the odds are statistically lower because now they're controlling the game. One of the things that I was taught in terms of in football terms, and this applies to every sport too, is what's the goal of any defense? Doesn't matter like if it's a football defense, a basketball defense, your third strike defense. The goal is to make the opponent one dimensional. It's not just about shutting out the opponent. It's making the opponent learn that they can only respond in this exact way. And you should like shutting down the an enemy's options. Like with Ken, for example, you can't get stupid because you do something, you throw out a bad move. If you're improperly spaced, you're eating low forward super. Same thing with like Chun-Li, same deal, right? So with Alex, he really doesn't have that sort of thing. Like the best thing he can do is whiff punish with EX slash up, which is a ridiculously good punish because you do that, then you've just created corner carry, which was where Alex needs to operate the best. But it's understanding that fear. Like one example, Amir, top Chun-Li player, right? He hates fighting Alex. He fucking hates it, right? But he cited that at a certain range, it's like far standing fierce range, right? Like throw tech, or it's like a block of a far standing fierce or something like that. Yeah, I forgot how he said he sets it up, but like a strong Alex, like I think Rennick would do this to him, and that's why he hated it. Is that at a certain range, if he couldn't abuse the far standing fierce, like if he got just out of it to like where Ken could like counter poke low forward super, you could if your reactions were good, like on the recoil of the fierce, you would get an EX slash elbow, and Chun-Li was still recovering, and that was like the deal. So it's like those little nuances and being willing to generate that sense of I'm gonna attack your heart, where uh, I'm not gonna be able to hit home runs the entire time. Like there's a lot of baseball analogies in Third Strike where, like, especially with Denjin Ryu, obviously that's like throwing Denjins and whatnot, but uh, 5 Star also harps on people about this too. Don't always look for the home run damage every time, and that's the problem with a lot of lower players. With the hump they need to get over is they're always looking for like, all right, what's the most damage? Because the obvious notion of the game is to whittle the opponent's life bar down to 0 or get it as far down below yours when the timer runs out. But what good are you if you can't land that? Like you'll appreciate this analogy. Lakers 2010 championship. There's a video of it. Yeah, I'm citing this now. Lakers 2010 championship. There's actually a video of it on YouTube where they go over the season. Like they just added Ron Artest to the team to be the defensive stopper, right? But he's got to learn the triangle. He's never played in that sort of system before. So they're showing a video of Lakers practice, and Ron is struggling to understand the triangle system, right? Phil Jackson stops practice and he says, "Ron, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, right?" And he says to him, "It's not about the back pick, come pick the other way. It's about the initiate. What did we do to get here? What did we do to set this up? Like, which is the core tenet of the triangle. How did you set this up? Like, what did you do in order to get there?" So, like, one of the advices I have to Alex players, when you understand your tools, your EX flash, your EX slash, knowing how to place your stomps, and I'm terrible at placing stomps. I'm not gonna. That's why I don't normally use it. And don't get me started on DDT, but neither. But a lot of his useful tools there. When you understand, okay, I can use these like at a moment's notice, I can execute them. How do I initiate getting a flash chop in there? What did I do in order to earn that? And what did I do to force the opponent into a situation where I can implement that? Like you'll see me do a lot of low short ticks. And the reason why I use low short is because most of Alex's offense is high mid throw base. There's not a lot of low threat. So players that understand the matchup, they're going to instinctively guard higher because the threat is from a confirm into a flash chop. The threat is the command throw. The threat is card throw or overhead. It's if they block high. So one of the things you can try to do is like do a low short and a low medium, things like that, to force the opponent to pay attention to their
Mm-hmm.
feet, and then you end up mixing it up. Like I try not to use command throw as much anymore because it resets situation mid screen. Like get him cornered, fuck it, do it right there. But you also see me do a lot of low short into stand flash chop, medium, heavy, and like all of them, or even like EX flash chop. Uh, I do it I'll do that to like stop them from trying to jump out of the like an obvious throw setup, but I want to do a fake throw setup to tag them so that down the way, did I earn like I'm gonna force them to block and see like, okay, can you react to this different setup? And the added benefit is like low short into medium flash chop. It doesn't combo, but if they try to jump out of that, it catches them in like those pre-jump frames where like if they let go of their guard, and this is again one of the other things that most people don't like third strike about, this there's no absolute guard in the game. So if they try to release and do anything that doesn't beat flash chop, like if they try to jump because they expect the throw setup, boom, they're back turned, and now I get another fatty combo out of that, and now it's another layer, adding layer upon layer of how am I keeping them off balance, because now they can't get their defense set. And again, like back into the whole keeping the opponent on their toes, keeping them from a point where they can properly execute their offense and defense. That's the way where I want Alex players to understand. Like it's the harsh reality is you really don't have anything solid to go off of. The most solid thing you have though is damage, and it's damage in the mix up into and you're not going to overthink of it like just throwing mix-ups in 50-50. Like I don't want you to just be like, all right, 50-50 mix-up, because relying on that all day doesn't, you're going to find yourself on the losing end of that more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the idea of understanding how each mix-up works and having an intent of how you having an intent when you play. Come in with a reason. Like every player I know, comes in with a specific game plan, a reason for why they're doing something. And you harp on younger players with this. Explain to me why you chose this option. Why did you choose to stand medium, EX flash chop after a blocked super or a blocked uppercut on that one? And more often than not, some of them are unable to explain it beyond, oh, that's just that's just what I know how to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people like, okay, if that's just what you know how to do, that's fine. That's a lack of knowledge. Then what do we need to do? Expand the knowledge beyond that. Like, for example, a blocked fierce uppercut from any Shoto with Alex, uh, unless you really need the positioning, blocked, let's say you block fierce uppercut from Ken, right? Immediate fierce slash chop in the punish of whatever you like, whether it's damage, whether it's you need the stun and you need to blow your meter on the on doing a medium into EX confirm into super, which will get you a lot of stun, or you need like the German backdrop just for like raw damage
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. Things like that. It's understand where your best punishes are. Can you create that situation? Can you create that fear? The good thing that I've learned as an Alex player, and this is just me personally, and it extends to all the other characters I play with a sense of I'm not afraid of anybody, especially
Mm-hmm.
after playing in Tokyo. You cannot be afraid of anybody. Like I understand that Chun-Li, she's got meter, she's got a full stock and a 50% life lead on me. Great. I'm not going to run in guns blazing because that's how I get tagged with low forward, right? But instead, I'm going to work around that. It's like in MMA when you're working, you're working on the ground. I'm going to try to get myself into a better position so that I can try to, net some damage, net a punch or two. Or if
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the ground, what am I going to do? I'm going to try to like buck my hips and get out of the ground position if I'm not comfortable there, or get myself in the guard position to where I'm limiting what the opponent can do so they don't get comfortable using a low forward. I don't get tagged with like a far fierce or a back fierce, and they can use the meter. And uh like what one thing I want to do like against Chun Li, for example, is like if she has meter, the one thing I want her to do is to burn meter without using super. Like if I can force a situation where I get damage, like if I can get a knockdown and force the force Chun to utilize EX bird or EX legs, like to me, like sure, I get fucking knocked back and she can build the meter back, but to me that's a win because like I look at it now, like, you are willing to burn meter on your EX. Now you're thinking about that, and as a result, I'm gonna try to put you in situations where you're going to be worried about burning the meter to save yourself as opposed to burning the meter for your offense. Like that's the kind of
Which is
way I
basically
now.
like, which is basically like either getting hard knockdowns or like I don't know like if there's a term for it, but I guess I'll create one. It's like Alex has a lot of what you would call fuzzy hard knockdowns, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
where like you get hit, but because of the way that the opponent gets get inflicts damage or whatever, right?
yes,
With all the hitboxes, like it's very quickly, and so like the window where you can react and do the safe roll or the quick rise is a lot shorter, you
oh
know.
yeah, definitely, definitely,
And so
yes,
so like to me that's like the ideal situation you're talking about, right? You want to get either hard knockdowns, fuzzy hard knockdowns, or just knockdowns in general, right? Just trying to put them in a situation where they have to sort of react.
yeah.
Uh,
Like what I want them to do with Alex. Um, I usually want them to and this again, this is for any character in general. I want them to commit to something at a low percentage for them to actually net damage or net or like gain their escape. Like I harp on players about percentages. Like what's the odds of something landing? What are the odds of you escaping, a major combo right
uh,
here? And with Alex, you have to work harder at that just because uh, it's so easy to guard a lot of his options. There's this video that I think Nuki put out where he demonstrates how to like the timing of how to guard on wake up, especially if you're cornered. Like if you guard and then jump, guard yeah, that guard jump. If you do it on the correct frame and Alex attacks on that certain frame, like it'll just automatically guard. But if he goes for a throw, then you jump out. But of course, that loses to a delayed attack by Alex because now you're jumping in the air, and if he hits like a stand strong, then you're gonna get tagged or gets the overhead. But that's that sort of thing. Like you always have to think of it in terms of uh, you know best odds for landing damage,
mhm,
lowest odds of unfavorable situation. And the truth of the matter is you will almost never get best odds at 100% and lowest odds and damage odds at 0% unless the
mhm,
opponent gives that to you. That's one of the things. So sometimes you have to weigh, like, per your situation, is it worth it that I go for the damage here, or do I
mhm,
really need to check my ass and not worry, not blow my load? Like Batman Begins. That's the movie reference I'll use when Batman is training against Ra's al Ghul and they're training on the ice and
mhm.
he's fighting, and Bruce Wayne. Sorry, spoiler alert for a movie from like 2 decades ago. Um, he goes in, slides, and knocks down Ra's al Ghul and gets him at sword point, and he says yield, right? And then Ra's looks at me and is like, "You haven't beaten me. You've sacrificed sure footing for a killing stroke." Taps the ground, and Bruce falls into the ice. Boom, done. That's the thing. Like that's what you're looking for. High percentage of you know what like landing your damage, and it's not going to come easy. Like
Uh-huh.
those situations don't always come very often. You're Alex. You're a shitty ass low tier character.
But you don't really need a lot of opportunity,
Yeah,
right? Because
that
Alex inflicts
because
mass damage.
exactly that's the thing. Like the other analogy is a boxer, right? 12th round, a boxer who is down on the points in terms of the cards. Like they've lost, let's say they've lost eight or nine of the 12 rounds in a boxing match, right? And what does the person who's won more rounds usually want to do to secure the victory? Stay away. Like don't get knocked out. What's the person who's disadvantaged going to do? You're going to try to force a victory because you're not going to win by points. It's the only way you can win. Knock them out. But the chances of you getting knocked out raised dramatically, but the chances of you winning, well, they're better than zero because anything's better than zero at this point. And it's finding a way to reconcile all that and understanding if you go into the match understanding that and uh, don't psych yourself out because of it, you'll just find that all right, fine, you can find ways to win. Like there's the match where at Jazzy during the team tournament where I had to face off against Therapist, and Therapist was actually rocking me in.
Let's see if we can find that match. Actually, maybe we can
It
watch it.
might be on YouTube. I found it
I'm
on
pretty
Twitter.
sure. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube.
Yeah, but let's see. I don't know if we'll be able to find it if we have enough time for it. But yeah. But I don't know if I'll explain it if we can find it. But if not, then I'll kind of explain the mentality of what I want to go through there. And the funny thing was that Yi 5-star was commentating during the match. He actually understood what I was doing. He knew exactly where I was going with the end engagement. So that tournament though, and again, shout out to Therapist. Fun Akuma to play against. Very, very active. I think he comes from the. I think he came from the Fightcade online team too. So he'd be fun to put in the golf tournament. I can't believe we're calling it the golf tournament. By the way,
Therapist has played a lot of. He's played a lot of
yeah,
offline, and hopefully I can get Therapist on a podcast. Man, I would
yeah,
definitely want to get that.
yeah,
Yeah, I can't really find the team tournament, but it's all right. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Someone
yeah,
check it out. So,
definitely.
Duralath, tell me a little bit about commentary and
Ah,
commentating Third Strike. Um, sort of what are Tell me a little bit about your approach when commentating Third Strike. Because just judging from the podcast already, you seem like a commentator that's you know, obviously you want to entertain and inform. The whole Horatian,
right,
motto,
right,
right? Instruct and delight. Um,
right.
and so, what do you think about what is your sort of philosophy, general approach to commentary, but specifically Third Strike?
The goal, commentary wise, whether it's Third Strike or anything else, you do have to know what you're talking about. And I've been fortunate over like what 17 years of actively playing the game. Well, 15 tournament wise, but 17 years and just the amount of experience I've accrued. Uh, you have to obviously know what you're talking about, but you are putting on a show. You are there for the entertainment of some of the viewers, regardless of the skill level. Because for Third Strike stream, yeah, granted, you're going to get mostly veterans and uh, people who know about the game that are coming in, but you will invariably get some of the people who don't understand what's going on, and you have to be able to give a guess on what's going on in terms of the action on screen, because we know how fast Third Strike is. It happens the blink of an eye, and you have to be able to just to get that knowledge out there and to deliver it in a way where it's enjoyable uh, to the viewer slash listener. One of the things that I really learned was uh, I've played multiple roles as a commentator, from play by play to color to crowd reaction. Like when it was myself, RKF, and Arliath at Co-op Cup 2017. There's no way I'm going to be able to do any sort of expert analysis because you got RKF for that. So why would you need me to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And Arliath is a faster talker than I am, so he's going to be able to call the action faster than I will. So my role, the two major roles that I would normally pick, are already taken by people who are far superior to me in that aspect. So what am I going? I'm going to call for the emotion of the scene and add where I can on that. And understandably, I'm not going to be able to talk as much as I would with RKF spouting the knowledge that he has, or Arliath calling the shots. But there are certain moments where you could fill the moment. It's like when Genki won, for example. Genki closed out against the Yun of all characters, and you can hear me yelling eat dirt" with half a voice because I'd blown my voice out at that point. So understanding your role as the commentator, and one thing that is necessary for commentators, especially when you're commentating with somebody else, is to listen. A lot of people think of commentary as I'm just going to talk over what's happening, and you actually have to listen to not just your commentator, but you also need to be paying attention to what's going on, obviously in the match. But uh, what because now you've got not just the match going, the gameplay that's going, but there's another stimuli that's being in that's not part of the match, that's not part of the actual match, but that's your co-commentator, and understanding like, are you the one who's calling out what's going on, or is your job, are you better suited at explain like, oh, maybe he thought, maybe the player thought this might happen, or uh I would like I the there was a definite option that they could have gone with, aside from the one that they had picked. But it's also, when another big thing is try not to be negative about your commentary, especially because you don't know, the player is on screen, right? I always have this huge pain whenever I hear a commentator be like, "Oh, I wouldn't have done that. Like, I wouldn't have chosen that." Like, okay, I get that. You probably wouldn't have chosen that, but clearly they did in a certain moment, and it might be a personal choice. Like maybe they wanted to save the meter, they didn't want to blow it. There's never room, in my opinion, for negative commentary. That's my big, like, one of my big pet peeves is there's never a need for it, because you can always explain something like, okay, personal choice. Like I don't understand, like I may not understand that, but there's a reason why they did that, and maybe we'll get to dive into that down the road. But my role of commentary is always make the players look as good as they can with what they're giving you. Like, one of the thing is, in sports commentary, do you really ever hear the commentators talking mad trash about what's going on? It's they deliver what's happening here, and somebody, an analyst might be like, hey, like, so he made a bad cut here, and well, it happens, but they don't harp on them about that. Choice happens, and you go on with it. But the goal is never to make the players look, you never disparage a player. Doesn't matter what skill level they are, and especially for the players that are new about this. Now, like, you find me on commentary, if I'm making fun of a player that's new, you might as well take me off commentary, because I'm not doing my job. Like, the goal of a commentator is to call the action and put the game in a positive light, so that it's enjoyable for the viewers and listeners alike. That's one of my big things about commentary. I know I wish others could adhere to that ideology, but uh, you got to get over that as a commentator, because your job now is to call the show, and that's my TED talk. Wait, Mutant, I'm not sure. Did I lose you? Did I lose?
Yeah. No, you're right, Duralath. You can hear me now, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, you're right. I definitely think we need to be super encouraging. And we want to try and turn mistakes into learning moments or opportunities to teach.
Right.
And I definitely agree with that. Uh, but I am sorry to inform you though that we have come to the point of the show where
Okay. Yeah.
where maybe everything that you just talked about for the last 10 minutes uh, might be
That is. Yeah.
might be
I know. I just
suspect
realized
now.
I shot myself in the foot because I forgot what was coming up. And I mean, this is the point where okay, it's fair sometimes to have a good laugh, and
Well,
like
here's the thing,
yeah,
Duralath, to me, Pack It Up has always been about teaching. You know what I mean? Like
definitely, definitely.
if you don't point out the mistakes, how are they gonna learn? And
Right.
so I guess
You can't just sugarcoat things. Yeah.
yeah, to me, I'm Pack It Up is I'm doing a service to the Third Strike community by
I
by
will.
by making sure it's like catharsis.
It is,
Duralath.
and to be fair, I will share my worst tournament loss after Pack It Up,
Okay,
just to, yeah, because like I said, we're all suspect to it. But that being said,
dude, I made a Pack It Up on myself. Okay, you can
that's
watch
fair.
that on my
Yeah.
YouTube channel,
All right.
youtube.com/Mutant XPerience. And
All
so,
right.
I guess without further ado, guys, this is this week's learning moment. And so, before we get started though, I just wanted to remind everyone that this past Tuesday, Vankabot announced that the Jazzy circuit would be hosting Jazzy online fundraiser tournaments. But instead of raising money for the finale, which of course all of you probably know has been indefinitely postponed, we're
Right.
going to be trying to raise money for venues. Because one of the things that we need to recognize, Duralath, is that regardless of whether Jazzy survives or not, it's not going to matter if there are no venues to hold events
That's
at.
true.
And so
Very true.
I would, and this doesn't just go for the Third Strike scene; it goes for all of the different scenes. So,
Right.
if there's any time to support, your local venues, if you want them to be there once, hopefully, we're able to kind of resume a kind of existence that resembles the one before all these things happen.
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
strongly encourage you guys to support your local venues. You don't have to join. You don't have to participate in the Jazzy Online fundraiser. Find out whatever fundraising campaigns your venues are running, and strongly
Mm.
consider supporting. I know everyone's hurting. Not everyone has the luxury to donate or support. But that's okay because you can actually donate for free, and so starting next Tuesday, we're going to be running, like I said, every Tuesday. And shout outs to Vankabot, like you said earlier, for undertaking this and helping organizing this and willing to sort of stream this and run this every Tuesday. And so starting next Tuesday, Duralath, every Tuesday, Vankabot is going to host a Jazzy online fundraiser, and each Tuesday we will be raising money for a different venue. And so, if you look on the screen here, the very first Jazzy online fundraiser for venue relief will take place next Tuesday, April 7th. And that night we will be raising money for the Gaming Zone in Arizona. Shout outs to Saber, Rannick,
Yeah.
those Necro players, Too Tall and the other guy,
Oh
Faka,
yeah.
I think. I think that was his name.
Mm.
They've been really coming on strong, and it's just so sad to see, obviously the Jazzy circuit have to suspend its season because those guys are really picking up steam,
Right.
and
Right.
they were producing some really exciting matches. And so, I consider you guys to come out next Tuesday, support the Gaming Zone. We're going to be running a match arena. 100% of the donations are going to go towards the Gaming Zone. Entry is free, and all you have to do is go to bruiseday.vankabot.com.
Nice. Definitely. If I get home in time, because I know I'll usually work up until like 8 p.m. On Tuesdays. But even if I can't compete myself, definitely gonna try and tune in. I might even be streaming that from my phone on the way home from work without the cops seeing that, because it is worth it. And we've seen so many venues lose out, and Benka's just doing a great job, and this is a great cause to support. And it's a little bit of, I guess, normalcy, or a little bit of familiarity in a time when we could really use that sort of thing.
I couldn't agree more, Duralath. And in another sort of unexpected benefit, in honor of these new Jazzy online fundraiser tournaments for venue relief that are again set to start next Tuesday, April 7th. I have assembled a Pack It Up comprised of clips entirely from this past Tuesday's Jazzy Bruise Day Tuesday. It was for free, but there were a lot of notable players in the tournament, and so I thought, maybe we should, in honor of these new Jazzy online fundraisers, we would go ahead and usher in this era with a Pack It Up comprised entirely of clips from that single tournament.
All right, let's see it. All right, let's
is everyone ready to see this?
Let's do this. Yes.
Okay, let's go, guys. So once again, without further ado, here is this week's edition of Pack It Up. Oh no!
Oh, look at them graphics. Oh, there we go.
Oh my gosh!
Oh no!
Nominee
number one.
Nominee number one. All right, so Neon Riot versus Herb Durkin. Herb Durkin forgets that you can kind of snuff that soup around and just decides to empty jump. I don't know what happened there. Probably frame drops. And another thing. Well, speaking of drops, so we got
Oh,
Big
no.
Nasty versus
No.
Vagabond. See, this is what happens when you try to style on the internet.
Yeah.
You do not
Oh, no.
style on the internet, okay? If we're gonna get used to this new normal, do not style on the internet.
Oh no, yeah, he had it. Okay. Yeah.
All right, nominee number 3. I don't know what's worse. You know, Artaze mashing the super or Tommy getting hit by it.
You guys gotta know that.
But regardless, I think the clip deserves to be on this edition.
Oh, Tommy. Ugh.
Nominee number 4. We got Ducky What? It's definitely blinking.
Oh no.
Nowhere near Meech when he lets this EX flash kick rip.
See, I'm wondering. Like before, did he try like that? Duck it? I don't know.
And nominee 5.
Oh,
Cycle
Steve.
Stev trying to make Urian as ineffective as possible.
Oh no,
With this
that
non-setup. Well, he had a meter and a half.
Oh no. Oh, Steve, come on, man.
So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that edition of Pack It Up. Tweet us and let us know what your favorite clip is.
Oh my god, I'm hurting right now. To be fair though, like I said I would share my the worst tournament loss I had, and okay, West Coast Warzone 2009, first Warzone, and I'm on stream against Gene Wong. Gene Wong's CVS2 player, but he'd been learning 3S. He's playing Chun, but he's got the bare basics down, but he's really trying to like dash legs and kind of do some fancy stuff. Like he's got really good execution, and I'm trying to play my ass off here. It's second. I'm already down 1 game, and he's up 1 round in the second game. And I get him. I have 40% life. At 40% life, he has nothing left. I'm coming back. I block Chun-Li super, right? Like he low forwards, no confirm, lets it rip. And I block. And I'm in my mind, my first thought in my mind is, okay, don't even risk the parry. Don't risk the parry. Just block and punish, right? And I'm about to punish, and I wanted to punish with EX slash elbow. I didn't have any meter though. And I looked at the meter right as I was about to hit it, and I realized I didn't have the meter to pull it off, and my hand froze. Like my right hand literally would not move on the controller as the up kick happens for Chun, and I block it, and no response. And you see Gene Wong jump away, and you hear the entire, and I heard the crowd yell, "Oh, what is going on?" Like he choked. And I'm like, fuck. Like I could chip him out, right? And I'm just fishing for meter, like mashing stand strong to get like 1 EX bar. And I'm like, okay, cool. Gene's sitting there like, okay, whatever. He's back. He's got 0 life. And I'm like, okay, I can fucking just like chip him. Like EX slash elbow, right? EX slash elbow. And immediately on reaction, he EX birds and beats and like gets it, stops my EX slash elbow, knocks me back, and then gets me in the corner. And I'm so demoralized at this point. He ended up like Kara throwing me for a win, and I'm like visibly like slumped over. Like I cannot fucking believe I gave that up, and it was on stream, and like the worst tournament loss I remember in like all my history. I was like, I cannot believe I choked that, because I was on the verge of a massive comeback. Like it was gonna happen, and no, I pissed it away. So that's hard lesson for everybody. Like it happens to everyone. It happens to the top players too. So that being said, those are some interesting packet ups, and there's some players there. I'm like, really, like, come on, man. Like you know the same. Come on, man.
Duralath, you cannot underestimate the online justice. The lady online justice is. She renders decisions that are hard and swift.
She's got online justice. She's got the eyes, because justice is blind. Obviously, she's got the blindfold on.
She has the modem ripped out, dude. Like that's
Yeah, that's what she's holding. She's holding the modem.
Blindfolded by a cat cable or something.
Oh, the cat cable is holding the modem off. There's a modem on one side and a freaking console on the other. This shit, and you know what it means? It's wireless, and you're gonna lose because of that.
Yeah. Well, God body. That's why you ended up in Pack It Up, dog.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know.
Yeah.
But now you know. That's the important thing, right? Now
But
you know. Now you know.
honestly, like take those like you did that flash kick. It happens, dude.
Yeah, dude.
There's times it happens,
Dude,
and
I've
you know
let Shore you rip when my opponent's been half screen, dude. I just
yeah.
it's
Trust. Like it happens to everybody,
happened.
but no, we learn from it all. And obviously, it's all in good fun,
Especially
and
online. Oh man.
yeah, dude. Like there's some. I'm just like fuck it, whatever. So I'm just gonna mash launcher with the ear in. Oh fuck it, hit. Cool.
But on the bright side, Duralath, I will no longer, because before all this stuff happened, I do admit I was having a difficult time finding clips for Pack It Up, and
Mm,
that could only mean one thing. Maybe players are in general, albeit incrementally, maybe they're
yeah,
getting better, maybe they're getting more solid.
that,
And
that's
so
good.
that's good. So, but now that we're all being forced online, I won't have the problem finding clips anymore. I could just,
Yeah,
one
there's definitely
tournament alone could give me enough material.
like I'm very excited, and I want to see all those players that were in the tournament. I want to see them enter again, and I want to see just evolution. Like, okay, you had a hard loss, you went 0-2, change something up. Like, go back to your footage, watch the matches that you lost. Like,
Mhm.
and I'm very guilty of only watching matches where I won because like I want to. Yeah, everybody wants to feel good about themselves, right? I'm very fucking guilty of that. I'm not gonna lie, but you really have to go to matches where you didn't have control, and the things that you lost to, like not just the option that you lost to, whether it was like a low forward super
Mhm.
or a whiff, but look at the situation. Like again, like what led to that? Like he had like the opponent had a meter. Did you let an unfortunate flash kick rip? Like what were you thinking at the time? Were you thinking maybe they were going to try and stick out a limb? Were you looking for that? Like for Arteas, for example, I'm sorry to call it Arteas, but one thing I always catch him on damn near every round when we play is I set him up with a tick, and then I know he's going to rip super immediately because he wants me off. He does not want a Makoto on him. I actually usually only play Makoto against his Necro,
Mhm.
but he always plays Super 1 Necro. So I'm like, okay, so you're willing to risk that one bar to blow up a command throw. So it's looking at what leads to that situation, and look at where that's the one thing, and it's hard. It's hard to look at yourself lose. We're all egotistical beings, but one thing you can do, if there's a player who plays your character, or just a top player that you honor, like respect in general, and you've established a rapport with them, you've talked to them before, don't be afraid to ask them, like, hey man, like in this situation, like what are the things you noticed here that I could have done better. And then like we have an Alex chat
Mhm.
that we share match footage with top players and our own, and
Mhm.
we've analyzed each other. We've talked and like, hey, like I noticed you're doing this, you're getting caught by this a lot. And we share the ideas, and it's really just that spread of knowledge that helps us all grow. So like to all the new players out there, look, shit happens. Like I've gone 0-2 more tournaments than I can count. Like I've probably gone to 0-2 more tournaments than tournaments you might have been in. So it happens to all of us. It's going to happen. Except once you accept that reality that yeah, you're going to lose, but you know what? You're just gonna get fucking stronger from it. You're all fucking Saiyajins, and like every loss you get, you're just gonna get fucking stronger. Just keep at it and don't fucking give up. That's my biggest advice. Be Rocky Balboa.
Oh well, we're gonna end it on that positive note,
Mm,
Duralath.
yeah.
So as we come towards the end of this podcast, first of all, I know you're busy. I know you're tired. I know you're worried, anxious, like many of us. And so I appreciate you coming on the stream and having and doing this podcast with me. It was definitely eye opening and it was really great. And
I
you're
appreciate
welcome
it.
back anytime, man.
Thank you, man.
Definitely.
I appreciate it. Again, thank you for giving us a platform to speak our thoughts. There's a lot of stuff that I wanted to definitely want to talk about in terms of just again approaching the game, and I was able, thankfully, thanks to you, Mutant, I was able to get it out because there's like shower thoughts. And I'm like, wow, this is really like how I feel about Third Strike, but I can't really voice it out in just like 140 or 280 characters on Twitter.
Mhm.
So it's like it's really nice to get it out there and actually talk to other players about it, veterans and newcomers alike. So
And I
thank you.
look forward to your stream, and I look forward to you playing more Third Strike and talking more Third Strike.
Oh yeah, for anybody who is interested, my schedule again it is subject to change just because of the nature of the work I've been doing. But twitch.tv/Duralath. Doesn't matter what the game is, if it's Third Strike or Overwatch or me doing Twitch Sing stuff as well. And there will be other games that we play.
Twitch
But
sings.
yeah, hell yeah, dude! Like I'm Filipino, I
Yeah,
sing
I'm
karaoke.
Filipino too, dog.
Yeah,
You
you know
know
it.
it.
Yeah,
You know it.
but yeah, if the chat is always open for questions of any sort,
Uh-huh.
and if you have any questions about Third Strike or just fighting games in general, or just it's a spot for everybody to come together and play. And definitely, we do it to have a good time, and I'm all about communities. So things that help build our community, that's what we're here for.
Awesome, awesome. So before we get out of here, guys, just another quick reminder. Remember that starting next Tuesday, we're going to be running Jazzy online fundraiser tournaments to raise money for some of our Jazzy affiliated venues that are struggling through these difficult times. And so please consider heading over to bruiseday.vankabot.com. You can actually donate for free. All you have to do is enter the code. It's the code, I believe, is TGZ2020 to add 50 cents to the prize pool. And so appreciate it if you guys headed over there and consider doing that, clicking some click sponsors. Also, direct donations are also welcome. All right, Duralath. Well, thank you again for coming by. And thanks to everyone who tuned into the podcast. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.
Deuces, guys.